Bring the meeting to order of the Wilmington City Council. I'd like to welcome all those who are with us here this evening and all those who are watching us at home. Thank you for taking an interest in your government. At this time, I'd like to introduce Reverend Patricia Smith, pastor of St. Andrew's AME Zion Church, for the invocation, and I ask that everyone stand and remain standing afterwards for the Pledge of Allegiance. Reverend, welcome.
Good evening. Let us pray. Unto thee, O Lord, we give you thanks and praise. We thank you for this another day. We thank you for how you carried us throughout this day. And Lord, we thank you for allowing us to be in this place at this time. We pray now, Lord, that you bless the citizens of this great city. Bless these leaders that are gathered around. Bless all that we will do in this place on this day. And Lord, we pray that your peace be upon your people. Give us wisdom, give us knowledge, give us courage to do the things that you would have us to do. Bless each and every one that will come in this building with peace and love. And bless this meeting. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'd like to also recognize that Councilmember Anderson will not be with us this evening, so all the council members are here. Their attendants are in attendance. We have three presentations this evening. The first presentation is a proclamation naming May as Bicycle Awareness Month, and at this time I'd like to recognize Ms. Carol Stein and Mr. Rodney Kidd, WMPO Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. They'll meet me up front. Proclamation reads, whereas the Wilmington City Council is committed to promotion of safe and convenient bicycling for both transportation and recreation, and whereas the City of Wilmington is committed to promoting the safe use of bicycles on the city's streets and trails through projects such as the Gary Shale Cross City Trail, the River to the Sea Bikeway, the Ann Street Bicycle Boulevard, bike lanes, intersection improvements, and the bicycle facilities, including in the city's 2014 transportation bond projects. And whereas education about bicycle safety through the 2023 BA Looker campaign will encourage children and adults to operate their bicycles in a safe manner on all bicycle and shared access facilities. Whereas the City of Wilmington has proclaimed 2023 as Year of the Trail as part of a statewide campaign to celebrate trails and greenways. And whereas the City of Wilmington has been designated as a bicycle-friendly community by the League of American Bicyclists since 2020, and whereas the Wilmington City Council is committed to alleviating traffic congestion by providing choices in transportation infrastructure and ensuring a clean and healthy environment. Now, therefore, the Wilmington City Council proclaims May as Bicycle Awareness Month and will continue to promote safe cycling opportunities for Wilmington citizens. And we appreciate everything you folks have done on the planning side to make all of the trail systems that we have built into the city a reality, and more to come. So thank you very much, and I know you have a few words to say.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Sefo. Thank you, City Council. And thank you for all the people that are here that used to bike and still can bike, as the efforts that we have made in the city of Wilmington and countless hours that we have on paper are to continue to improve safety and the facilities in our area so everybody can continue to improve your health and wellness. And please support those that are supporting cycling and pedestrian safety, and we look forward to bettering our environment for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Next presentation is a proclamation naming May 20th, and through the 26th, 2023, as Safe Boating Week. And at this time, I'd like to recognize Mr. Otis White, the past commander of the Cape Fear Sail and Power Squadron, if they'll come forward. Thank you. City of Wilmington proclamation reads, whereas North Carolina has 5,000 miles of water shoreline and 361,000 registered boaters in the state, and whereas boating and fishing are one of the state's most popular year-round activities, and whereas on average 630 people die in the U.S. each year in boating-related accidents, and approximately 80% of those fatalities are caused by drowning. And whereas in approximately 86% of drowning cases, the victim was not wearing a life jacket. And whereas it is apparent that wearing a life jacket is the single most important factor in reducing boating-related deaths. And whereas the National Safe Boating Council, supported by the U.S. Coast Guard and other national organizations, has set May 20th through the 26th, 2023 as National Safe Boating Week. Now, therefore, on behalf of the Wilmington City Council, I, Bill Sappho, Mayor of the City of Wilmington, do hereby support the efforts of the Cape Fear Sail and Power Squadron and the National Safe Boating Council, and proclaim 20th through the 26th, 2023 as Safe Boating Week in the City of Wilmington, and the start of the year-round effort to promote safe boating, and urge all persons to wear a life jacket at all times while boating. And as this area continues to grow in popularity, we get out on the waterway and we're amazed at the amount of boats and how dangerous it can be at times. And we just wanted to say thank you to all of your efforts in keeping all of those that go out and have a nice recreational day on the water safe. So thank you very much. Otis?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, Council. We appreciate very much the support that we get from the City of Wilmington. I just want to say, in 2020 during COVID, remember COVID? During COVID, the number of boats sold went up 41% over any previous year in the history of boats. It was an amazing number of people going out and buying boats. 37% of those people had never owned a boat in their life. And the death rate in North Carolina became the second highest in the country in 2020 and 2021. The only states that is below us is Texas, and the only state above us is Florida. We are a boating community, and when you get in your car and you go to drive anywhere, what's the first thing you do? You put on your seatbelt. The first thing, and if you have an accident, your seatbelt is already on. The same thing's true in boating. The first thing you should do is put on your life vest, because when something happens on the water, you're not going to have time to go find it in some locker down in your boat. You should be wearing it all the time. And that's our message of please wear it. And please wear your life jacket so we can reduce the number of deaths on the water here in Wilmington. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work. Good to see you. Good seeing you guys. Next presentation is the City Manager's 2024 recommended budget. And at this time, I'd like to recognize Ms. Laura Martell, who is the Budget Director. Laura, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. I have the pleasure tonight of presenting the City Manager's FY24 budget. Timeline seen here provides an overview of the collective benchmarks that staff and council has done to develop the budget. Over in November, we have a strategic work session. We have 2 work sessions in January and March to further refine any strategies that we will use in the budget. We present the budget in May, which is tonight, and we have a public hearing that's 2 weeks later, followed by a potential opportunity for council to have another work session at the end of May, and then we have the adoption in June. I'd like to go over the framework on how we develop the budget. If you recall, back in November, we worked with council at our strategic work session to ensure that we had strategies and where we wanted to go. We asked council what they wanted us to look at and to prioritize, and these are the 5 that we have used, and you will see them reflected throughout the budget. We also used our new values and vision, mission, and values that we had presented to council in the late last year that we judged in the spectrum of conformity. The values are represented throughout the budget as well, and we looked toward service delivery, and it's tailored to our needs to our diverse community. The third component, staff has been updating the strategic plan, and we have brought these focus areas and presented them to council in January. Where we refine them, they're still drafted, but you will see them also reflected in the budget as you read the document. And then fourth and the last component is the economic drivers that we are encountering. Wilmington is on pace with the national unemployment rate at 3.5. The labor market continues to realign, and it makes it difficult to attract and retain employees. We have a surge of retirements, as well as the younger group of people who could enter the system between 18 and 24. They're taking a little longer to join the workforce. June, inflation peaked at 9%, and it's been declining ever since. Just a few years ago, the federal government was trying to stimulate the economy by putting trillions of dollars into the system. Now they're trying to slow it down. Since March of 22, the feds have increased the interest rates 8 times. And then there's a lingering threat of a recession that is being debated about how far and when it will occur. All of these 4 components, the strategies, the values, the drafted strategic plan, focus areas, and the economic drivers were all considered as we developed this budget, and we believe that the budget reflects council's desires and where they want us to go in the next couple of years. And now for funding at a glance. This is going to be the revenue section, and I just want to give you a total budget before I get into the general fund. The total budget is $351 million. The recommended budget has 42% of that 351 is the general fund at just almost 148 million. The capital projects is made up of 27% of that total and at $94.5 million. And now to talk about the general fund. 1 cent on the property tax rate equals $2,250,000. The budget maintains a tax rate of 39.5 cents per 100 assessed values. To make the budget work, there is a shift of the allocation of property tax between general fund and debt service. To the left, the current split is shown, and the general fund is receiving 32.37 cents, and the debt service fund is receiving 7.13 cents. The FY24 budget shifts the split by 1.12 cents, or $2.5 million. On the right, you will see that split, and it's now 31.25 for the general fund and 8.25 for the debt service. This allows the city to acquire the Northern Downtown Municipal Center properties currently in the due diligence period without a tax rate adjustment. The FY24 general fund is expected to be almost 9% increase over the FY23 year-end revenue. The general fund, as I mentioned before, is just under $148 million. So some of the revenue that is in there, we have property tax, which should see an overall increase of 1.3% over the FY23 estimated year-end. Some of this is related to the 96 brownfields property exemptions lessening as they move through their 5-year status. The appeals from the last reevaluation are being also realized. If you recall, I had said that FY23's budget was a little more than what we had expected, and that's because of the appeals. Because of that, our FY24 budget is higher. And then, of course, we have natural growth. Sales tax figures have continued to exceed expectations in FY23 despite warnings from the economists. The FY24 recommended budget expects to see a slowdown in that growth rate, preparing for the threat of the recession, as well as customers just not spending as much. Programmed is 6% growth rate over the estimated FY23. Keep in mind that this estimate, the 6%, brings us back to pre-Hurricane Florence increases and brings us back to what was normal prior to Hurricane Florence and COVID. And now for some of the budget highlights. Our employees are our greatest assets that enable us to meet the needs of the community. Staying competitive in today's market is challenging since each jurisdiction is trying to retain and attract employees. The recommended budget proposes both a market rate adjustment to the pay ranges as well as a merit pool to enable this organization to recognize and reward those high-performing employees. This increase is about 5% of the salaries. Funding is included in this budget for the final year of a 3-year plan to increase council members' stipend to market. The current labor market is impacted by CDL drivers, and they are moving out of our recycling and trash, and it's hard for us to keep those drivers on. The labor market everywhere is seeing this, and we have a shortage of drivers that are leaving for local recycling companies as well as constructions for just $2 more. This budget recommends that we increase their salaries by $2 so we can start retaining these employees. And we have 34 positions that are making $15 an hour. This is the city's minimum starting pay. Half of those are vacant and having a hard time getting those to be filled. We recommend moving the starting pay to $16.07, allowing the city to remain competitive with local companies. The city has a unique opportunity to consolidate staffing into one location downtown by purchasing property. If this transaction occurs, it will save the taxpayers between $22 to $28 million in construction costs alone. The city is in this due diligence period and plans to finalize the purchase in mid-July at a cost of $68 million. To support this acquisition, 8 positions have been budgeted in a newly created division called Repair and Maintenance. This move will enable the city to vacate current properties, which will be sold at market for potential redevelopment. Additionally, the new location has underutilized properties that will be sold for development adjacent to the approved Gateway project in the northern section of downtown. The opportunity is extraordinary in that it has a potential to shift the downtown economic center and attract further businesses to the city. The FY24 recommended budget proposes the creation of a Housing and Neighborhood Services Department. Shifting under this department would be Community Services Code Enforcement, Public Services Compliance Officers, and Community Services Development Block Grant programs. The relocation of these divisions into a single department will ensure the emphasis of services that are increasing important to council and the residents, while also allowing staff to make greater utilization of existing resources in the field of minimum housing, code enforcement, and compliance. The city continues to advocate for and supports affordable housing. The budget continues the 1 cent that we dedicated to affordable housing, and it benefits from that growth over time each year. The budget continues efforts for road improvement and traffic management. The FY24 capital budget recommends $16 million for various street and sidewalks prevention and maintenance projects. Of note, street rehabilitation project is receiving $2 million more in FY24, providing $8 million for preservation efforts. $2 million translates to 10 lane miles. There are 2 safety projects receiving their final appropriations. Funded in this budget is slightly more than $2 million for the demolition and reconstruction of the Front Street Bridge. The emergency access for Tolles Road has been funded in just under $300,000 to address flooding issues that prevent the access to those homes periodically. On the operating side, we have 1 ITS senior technician that has been authorized to help maintain the 230 signaled intersections within the city. The recommended budget continues City Council's commitment to public safety. Funding funding was allocated to ensure service delivery, training, and equipping our staff with tools needed to provide a safe community. The first year of a 5-year plan or contract totaling $650,000 is budgeted in a bundled package related to upgrading tasers that are no longer supported by the company and extending video camera storage, which is required as evidence and to be kept by the state. The battalion chief, acting as a deputy fire marshal, is authorized to help support the growing workload associated with plan review and inspections and investigation program. Budgeted is a funded 1 full year for the horse facility and some storage to cover expensive public safety equipment that many times sits outside in the elements, and this will extend their life. The annual replacement plan was established for the fire apparatus equipment such as extraction tools, ladders, and nozzles. This will flatten their budget requests and allow the department to replace a certain number each year based on their life expectancy. Police are receiving some funding for repairs and maintenance for vehicles outside the normal fleet maintenance program to keep their vehicles in top shape. Part-time fire and life safety educator has been put to full-time. Moving this position to full-time, the department will be able to reach 16,000 families. As the city grows, service demands naturally increase. Since FY17, internal service staff have been added at a ratio of 25 for every 67 operational staff. Recommended in this year's budget are several internal positions that provide essential support to help streamline processes and remove process bottlenecks. One of those is a recreation supervisor for the golf course. This position will monitor purchasing and inventory procedures for accuracy, analyze monthly reports, as well as oversee the capital project's financials. The internal service or internal communication coordinator will provide structured and effective communication to all employees and council. The strategic plan performance manager to manage and activate the citywide performance management system and strategic plan. This position will guide decision-making, work, and resource allocation using data and creates a clear direction to move service areas forward to their desired state. A new human resource manager for talent acquisition to help keep up with the record-breaking applications and recruitment needs. A senior budget analyst will provide a more balanced ratio to support operating departments as well as allow for improved processes and more focused strategic direction. And finally, an IT project manager to navigate all of IT services projects that they are implementing and to ensure that we have the resources available before we buy the software to implement the information. The FY24 budget has 1-year maintenance plan with a decision to delay a multi-year plan until FY25. This will allow staff to place priority on completing funded projects with current resources and continue to maintain projects and to continue major maintenance projects. Develop a funding and resource strategy for the citywide maintenance projects, and it will also allow us to reevaluate the city CIP needs for the next multi-year plan. A brief look at our enterprise funds. Stormwater is balanced at $13.4 million. This is essentially remaining flat because they are not using their fund balance this year. There is an adjustment for the equivalent residential unit consistent with a multi-year financial model, which increases it by 1% from $8.51 to $8.60. Recycling services is balanced at $11.8 million, supported in part by a rate adjustment where the average customer will see an increase of $2.40 for services rendered. This adjustment is paying for the increased CDL drivers pay, inflation impacts, and the automated side loader modernization. The parking fund is balanced at $8.5 million with the second year of a 3-year fee adjustment supported by the Downtown Parking Advisory Board. A new transfer to recycling and trash to help to support downtown activities related to pressure washing, graffiti removal, and bathroom cleaning. The golf course budget is balanced at $2.1 million with a $2 green fee adjustment to support the recreational supervisor, the inflation impacts, continued transferring funding to the golf CIP in lieu of the indirect cost services rendered to general fund that we put in place last year. The next steps, the budget document will be available at the following locations: the city's website, city manager's office, the clerk's office, highlights on GTV, and the New Hanover Library downtown. The public hearing is in 2 weeks, followed by council's last work session, and the June will be the adoption. Thank you for your time and patience during this budget season. As you move through reviewing the budget, if there are any questions, please contact the city manager or myself, and we will be happy to facilitate gathering the information to ensure your work session at the end of May goes smoothly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Next item of business is a consent agenda. Items 1 through 3. Are there any items that any council member would like to hear separately? If not, what are the wishes
C2.
of this council? C2. Anybody else? Okay, we have a motion to accept items C1 and C3, excluding C2, which we will talk about in just a second. We have that motion by Councilman Barnett, second by Councilman Waddell. Discussion, all in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item passes unanimously. At this time, I'd like to recognize Councilmember Spears. Ms. Spears?
Tony's not here, so Tom, you got to take this for Tony. When is the last time we've had an upgrade to Impey Park?
Community Services Director Amy Beatty's here. She can speak directly to that.
Okay.
Good evening, Councilman Spears. The last time that the original Impey Park courts 1 through 8 were resurfaced was about 10 years ago. It's one of the city's oldest sets of tennis courts, so this is not a resurfacing project that we would typically fund from the annual allocations to parks maintenance. Rather, this is a project because there are holes and cracks in the concrete because of the age of the court. It can't take another resurfacing, so the courts will be demoed and reformed, concrete poured, new paint, striping, fencing, etc.
Okay, and I asked that only because I know you all recall that I've promised on several occasions that anytime we talk about doing something different in the city, I'm going to mention MLK and that gym expansion, and I'm also going to throw in the condition of the resources that we have at Mays Park, be it the basketball court, the tennis court, and I was, only because a concerned citizen reached out to me about the condition of the resources that we have at Mays Park. You know, I think we need to do a really good job of balancing how we take care of stuff throughout this city. And a lot of the residents in our city feel neglected, and that's for the lack of a better term that I'll use, neglected. But they do feel neglected. And a lot of things I see firsthand, and I talk to staff about it, and we get it corrected. So I don't know who needs to have their eyes out throughout this city. Well, I do know who needs to have their eyes open about things throughout this city, so we can do a good job of not making people feel like they're neglected or they won't get any resources until new neighbors start moving into their community. I think it's unfair, and it's a little bit negligent on our behalf. So if we just need to do a better job of what we're doing throughout the whole city.
I'm glad you brought this up. So the city, with the resources that we have, we typically resurface tennis courts about every 10 years. Ideally, we would do that more like every 5 to 8 years, but the Parks Capital Program is competing against every other capital need in the city, be it streets, buildings, et cetera. But I can speak to Maids Park, tennis resurfacing. That resurfacing is actually in the current year's work plan for the annual allocation of parks maintenance funds, and it's already under contract, and that work is scheduled to begin, I believe, May 22nd. I think that, so that also includes replacement of the fencing around the courts. I believe that's already occurred. That was an expenditure of around $10,000, and then the court resurfacing itself is just under $50,000, and that's the work that will begin at the end of May. So that work will actually start before the MP work will start.
Okay. And where are we as it relates to the MLK gym expansion? Any further along in the path?
Yes, the MLK gym and expansion and commercial kitchen project, the city has received the 100% construction bid documents from the consultant, and so engineering staff is currently working with purchasing on when that bid will be advertised, but I would anticipate, I don't want to speak for engineering or for purchasing, but I would expect to see something within the next 2 months advertised for that contract.
Okay, I'm just keeping my word. Every time we talk about spending some money or we're going to spend some money, I'm going to mention MLK. I promise.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Spears to approve item C2, second by Councilmember Barnett. All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item passes unanimously. That brings us to our next item of business, which is our public information. No public information speakers have been scheduled to speak this evening. Brings us to our public hearings. Our first item is item PH1, which is a public hearing for the year 2024 Annual Action Plan for CDBG and Home Funds. This time I'd like to recognize our city staff for the presentation.
Mr. Mayor, Suzanne Rogers, Community Development Housing Planner, will make this presentation.
And I will also note that no action will be taken at this time, as this was a public hearing only. Ms. Rogers, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Saffo, Deputy Manager Moten, members of council. Different mic. As the mayor stated, tonight is the public hearing for the annual action plan for the allocation of our community development block grant and home funds that come to us through HUD. We have posted the draft plan for public comment, public comment period beginning April 14, and that will close on May 16th. You see here the various methods that we used to let folks know about the plan so that they could provide comments, and then we'll come back to you on May 16th for your adoption of the plan. The final plan will include any and all comments received and any staff response to those comments if appropriate. The annual action plan builds on the 5-year consolidated plan which you all adopted last June. That plan includes a needs assessment, a housing market analysis, and a strategic plan which sets our goals for the 5-year period. So this plan builds on that. Our strategic goals, as you'll recall, are to increase affordable housing options, support public services. In particular, we use those funds for homeless shelter and services, maintain existing housing, reduce housing discrimination, expand and improve access to funding sources for affordable housing, increase home ownership opportunities, increase housing counseling and financial literacy opportunities, and improve the public overall perception of affordable housing. This slide shows since 2021 our federal annual allocation and your general fund appropriation. As you can see in the column for FY24, our federal allocation of CDBG funds and home funds was reduced. And as Ms. Mortel noted earlier in her presentation, we will see an increase in the 1 cent on the property tax that you all are appropriating for affordable housing gap financing. So overall, our funds that we'll be receiving for 23-24 are going to be about $116,000 less than the previous year. Looking at the goals that I mentioned before, this shows the allocation of those FY24 dollars, including some revolving loan and program income that we receive through the various programs. So we are anticipating or hoping to produce with our partners 2 more single-family units. I have budgeted home funds for that at $600,000. We anticipate 6 additional HOP loans using CDBG and general fund towards that, down payment assistance, owner-occupied rehab, looking at a projection, a goal of 10 units there, rental rehab, incentive loan, 6 units there, and then housing production gap financing, projecting 198 units there using home, general fund, and the general fund designated balance if available. So if we can attain those goals, that's about $8.3 million. I think that works out to about $36,000 per unit. We have carryover funds for loan applications that are in the pipeline that's presented here of HOP pre-qualified borrowers who have gone through the home buyer education and are pre-qualified and searching for housing. We have 16 of those folks. And as you know, it has been a difficult housing market. That's starting to ease up a bit in terms of the competition, but still the housing sales prices are outpacing people's pre-qualified amounts, so that's still a challenge. And you're aware that we've made some adjustments to our down payment assistance and some other things. Rental rehab incentive loans, we have 8 applications in the pipeline. I think at the time that this was prepared, which is based on January 31 numbers, so some of these have closed already, I think 4 units. And then owner-occupied housing rehab, we have a large pipeline there, and we're working through that. So that's about $5.2 million in carryover pipeline units. We know that probably all of these won't come to fruition, but we budget for them until they make other choices or their pre-qualification certification runs out, and then we visit it again. Our other goals are to utilize the 15% of CDBG that we can set aside for what's called public services towards homeless shelter and services operating. This is a reduction from prior years when we had about 175,000 there because of our reduction in CDBG. Also, council has approved a multi-year contract contingent upon the annual budget with the Cape Fear COG for the continuum of care, and then it will be year 2 of the human services grants, the grants to competitive agencies. And then in the fall, we'll start another cycle at your direction. Also, you recall we became a certified housing counseling agency. Later tonight, I'll bring another action for your, item for your attention and action. We're a member of the North Carolina Housing Coalition Housing Counseling Network, and we are continuing our housing counseling program and growing that program and seeing a lot of demand and interest. We will sponsor or co-sponsor at least one fair housing workshop. We'll continue fair housing referrals in partnership with the city's DEI office and the Community Relations Advisory Committee and state and federal agencies that deal with fair housing. We'll continue public awareness and education around affordable housing and myths that often are associated with affordable housing, working with the Workforce Housing Advisory Committee, the CRAC, the Housing Coalition, and the North Carolina Housing Coalition, and we'll continue our public outreach around our various city housing programs, letting folks know what's available and how they can access those resources. And that concludes an overview of the plan. I'm happy to try to address any questions. Thank you.
Any questions, Ms. Rogers? Thank you, Ms. Rogers.
Thank you.
We'll now open the public hearing and ask if anybody in the public wishes to speak on any of the items that you just heard. Madam Clerk, have you received any comments? Are there any additional questions from council? Okay. Seeing none, I would now close the public hearing. Next item of business is item PH2, which is an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city to rezone property containing 2.44 acres of land located at 2402, 2406, 2420 South 17th Street and 1608 Wellington Avenue from O&I Office and Institutional District and CBCD Community Business Conditional District to CBCD Community Business Conditional District for general retail use with associated fuel pumps and a restaurant. At this time, I'd like to recognize our city manager, Deputy City Manager Tom Oden. Tom?
Mr. Mayor and members of council, staff presentation will be made by Abby Bonivac, Associate Planner.
And I will also note for the record, whoever makes the motion must read a consistency statement for the record.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. All right, so this site is located on the southwest corner of South 17th Street and Wellington Avenue and contains approximately 2.44 acres and is currently occupied by 3 commercial structures and an office. This map shows the general vicinity surrounding the project. And these are photos of the subject property. These are photos of the adjacent properties and land uses. This site is currently zoned Office and Institutional and Community Business Conditional District. The site is bordered by Office and Institutional, or O&I, to the north, east, and west. The Community Business Conditional District is to the south. Commercial uses are located to the north and south, with offices to the east and the west. This site will be used for general retail with associated fuel pumps and a restaurant. The gas station would utilize an entrance along South 17th Street and on Wellington Avenue. This would close 2 existing driveways, one on Wellington Avenue and one on South 17th Street. The gas canopy is located behind the building. meeting the frontage and accessory use conditions. To exceed the maximum allowed parking spaces, the applicant had submitted an alternative parking study. I do want to note that the applicant has actually reduced the parking request from 51 to 50 spaces in order to save a significant tree per the proposed conditions of approval. Elevations show entrances along Wellington Avenue and South 17th Street. The site is located within a live, work, innovation zone principle in the areas of opportunity and along a high-capacity transit route, Transit That Works, on the Comprehensive Plan's growth strategy map. Wellington Avenue is a special character street, and South 17th Street is a major corridor and regional parkway. Staff believes the proposed zoning amendment is consistent with the recommendations of the Create Wilmington Comprehensive Plan, and that the request is reasonable and in the public interest. Staff recommends conditional approval with the conditions listed in the case summary be applied. Planning Commission recommended approval on April 5th, 2023, with those same conditions applied. This concludes staff's presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys may have, and the applicant is here with a presentation as well.
Any questions for staff? Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
It's time to recognize the applicant.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. My name is Sam Potter. I'm an attorney from here in Wilmington, and I represent the applicant. And I do have a presentation that will hopefully be up on the screen here in a second.
Can you raise that microphone up?
Sorry, they're waiting for the presentation to get up on the screen there. All right, so this has been in the news. It's no question as to what this project is. This is a Wawa. It is the first Wawa to come to southeastern North Carolina and the second planned for North Carolina altogether. It is a convenience store, but it's more than that. And for that, I'd like to call up Naaman Padimi, who is a representative of Wawa, to talk about what Wawa is and what it hopes to bring to the Wilmington community.
Good evening, Mayor Saria, Mayor Safo, council members. My name is Payman Nadimi. I am a project engineer with Wawa. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening and tell you a little bit about Wawa. So, what is Wawa? The number one thing, probably the number one point I'd like to highlight in my presentation today is that Wawa is more than a convenience store. We are known for our family-like atmosphere, our built-to-order fresh food, which includes our famous hoagies, competitive fuel pricing, devotion to the community. We like to be part of the community with each store that we build, and build that emotional connection with our customers. And we're known for that across our stores. So with every new store, we invest about $6 million on average in the community to build the store initially. We pay over $1 million in local contractor fees and contracts. We try to hire local workers as much as we can, including landscaping, civil engineering, and other trades associated with new store construction. And then long term, we bring an average of about 40 to 50 employees, associates per location, which, as you can imagine, is much more than a typical convenience store. Of these 40 to 50 positions, our associates, About a fifth are actual manager positions. All our employees, all our associates are company employees. Wawa is a privately held company. There are no franchises. So all associates will be essentially corporate employees, company employees, and they are eligible for all benefits that company and employees have access to. Those benefits include bonuses, contributions to 401k, and participation in our employee stock ownership program. As you can see on the slide, Wawa is actually 40% owned by employees, like me and our associates. And free of charge to us, we become part owners of the company. And that goes down to every single associate that works in our stores. They become part owners of the company. We also have a foundation, a Wawa Foundation, that since its inception in 2014 has contributed over $125 million to the organizations that we support. And those organizations include the American Red Cross, Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, the USO, and Special Olympics. And we're very proud of the contributions and the support that we offer these organizations. I would also like to just finish by talking about the employees, the associates that we plan to bring for this location. We offer very competitive wages, as I mentioned, the bonus, the 401k, and all of these are features and benefits that are not typically seen in the convenience store industry. So we are quite unique in that way. And we try to build a very close connection with the communities in which we're located. And we're known for that. You guys can check out YouTube videos of marriages that have happened in Wawas, where people have proposed in Wawas, and we have that connection with our community, and we try to do that in every community where we're located. With that, I thank you for your time and open to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? The applicant? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
I wanted to start off with Paymon giving his presentation because Wawa is new to this market, and it's not something that the council has ever seen here before. I went to law school in Philadelphia, although I'm from Wilmington, and I've been and experienced it. It's a cultural institution in all the places that it is. But with that being said, I really want to talk about how this project fits with the City of Wilmington's future land use plan. In addition to fitting with the land use plan, as the planning staff has discussed with you, this property has not been updated and improved since the 90s. And so it is not up to current stormwater standards. There are several accesses to both 17th Street and Wellington, which is not in accordance with current traffic planning standards. And this project is designed in part to bring this property up to modern day standards and in accordance with Wilmington's planning direction. This project will remove older buildings. Many of you are probably familiar with the property that's on the corner of 17th and Wellington. That's the old Pizza Hut there that's no longer operating. It's now vacant. There's an office building behind that, another commercial building to the south of that property as well. And so what it's going to do is it's going to take these properties that are primarily paved and it's going to bring it up to current standards. We've prepared, and you can see on the screen there, this is roughly the same elevation approach looking at the corner of 17th and Wellington. On the right of your screen, you have what used to be the Pizza Hut. That's a picture that was taken last week. And then on the left of your screen, you have an elevation looking from that same angle at the Wawa that's proposed. And so you have landscape buffers, you have the multi-use trail running along 17th Street, you have a new sidewalk on Wellington, and we've got our design team here to talk about some of the stormwater and traffic improvements that are made to the area. But again, this is just in keeping with the idea that this is bringing this property from what looks like an 80s and 90s and actually probably a 70s development scheme into a 2020s project. With that being said, we have two people here to answer any technical questions that you may have and talk about traffic and stormwater. One is Nadine Shovel. She's an engineer who's here to talk about stormwater and can talk about traffic. And then we also have a traffic engineer, Colin Clinton, who's here to answer any specific questions you may have about traffic. Those have been the two main issues that have been raised so far leading up till today. And then I hope to close with a conversation about some of the gives that we've got for the neighbors. And I'm hoping that there'll be some folks speaking in favor of the project as it relates to those gives. But with that being said, I'd like to call up Ms. Shovels to talk about traffic as well as stormwater.
Hello, my name is Nadine Shovels. I'm with Kimley Horn. We're the civil consultant for this project. Starting with site access, we're proposing a right-in, right-out access on 17th Street, as well as a full access on Wellington Avenue. We're also planning to utilize an existing cross-access to the Food Lion that's just south of our site. As far as pedestrian accommodations go, we are proposing a 5-foot wide concrete sidewalk on Wellington Ave, as well as a 10-foot wide multi-use path on 17th Street. We're also planning some pedestrian improvements at the intersection, and that includes pedestrian push buttons and then also a painted crosswalk. Moving on to stormwater, we are planning to install an infiltration pond on the south side of the site, and then we're also proposing all new pipes on site to collect any runoff from the site. And then I also just wanted to touch on the general site design. This site is designed to meet the semi-urban frontage requirements in the UDO, and that means having reduced building setbacks, providing enhanced landscaping, enhanced architectural design, and then providing enhanced pedestrian connectivity from the right-of-way to the building. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have on the site design. As Sam mentioned, we also have Colin Kenton here with TPD, who's the traffic engineer, who can answer any traffic questions.
Could you just walk us through the right-in, right-out? I may have missed it. Which ingress is the right-in, right-out, ingress, egress?
Yeah, absolutely. So on 17th Street, which is the road running north-south on this, you can take a right in through our proposed turn lane, and then a right out only. There's no left turn access.
Okay, and then the other at the bottom of the screen, is that a tertiary access?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. And then the main access is off of Wellington?
Not main, we're thinking about 50-50 with
Okay.
both, but a full access on Wellington, yes.
Mrs. Spears?
How does this mesh with the existence of Food Lion?
With the existence of Food Lion,
Yeah.
can you elaborate on your question?
I mean, are you gonna set up a barrier or some type
Okay,
of?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that cross-access there, that's existing, so we're planning to just keep it open. There's a cross-access easement from our entrance to 17th Street in Food Lion.
Right.
So Food Lion customers are welcome to come through our site. Our customers are welcome to access that entrance, but we're not anticipating a lot of Food Lion traffic on our site.
But you said this will improve traffic.
It will improve traffic. Previously, there was a cross-connection between our site and the doctor's parcel. Sorry about that. Previously, there was a cross-access connection between our site and the adjacent doctor's office parcel. We're removing that to just prevent any disruptions to their patients through there. So we're really just creating direct access to our site and then that one Food Lion access.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask about how you mesh with them too.
Yes, we are completely separating ourselves from the doctor's office, trying to keep our customers separate from their patients.
Okay.
Sorry, one more.
Mr. Waddell?
Where on the site plan is the tree that you guys removed one of the parking spaces?
Yeah, so you can see there's a row of 3 parking spaces, and then an island, and then another row of, I believe it's 10 parking spaces. That blue dot there is the tree that we're protecting. And I also wanted to note, we did have a tree survey done, and there are several protected and heritage trees on the site, and we're planning to keep all of them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Barnett?
Tell me a little more about the traffic, because oftentimes one of the main concerns I hear is, you know, how you're going to control people going in and out and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't mind, I'm going to bring Colin Kenton up. He's the
That'd be
traffic
good.
engineer.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Colin Kenton. I'm with Traffic Planning and Design.
Okay, so tell me how you're going to control the traffic. I mean, that's the concern I hear often.
Right. Well, as previously stated, we're closing 2 of the driveways and moving the 2 remaining driveways further from the signalized intersection to increase queuing ability. Then we're going to modify the signal at 17th and Wellington to improve left turn access onto Wellington. And the majority of traffic will be entering right in, right out directly from 17th Street.
17th Street goes one way, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
I didn't want to take Nadine away if you guys had more questions on the stormwater or traffic. Our design professionals can certainly answer any more questions you may have whenever they come up. I mentioned during our primary, well, actually, one thing I wanted to draw your attention to, Councilman Bardet, this was discussed a lot in front of the Planning Commission. And if you look on your screen, you kind of start at the intersection of Wellington and 17th, and you move south on your screen down 17th Street. You can see, it's faint, but you can see the 2 existing accesses to the property, and those are being closed. And so you can see what's being closed, and then the new access that's further south, further away from that signalized intersection that Colin spoke about. And that's one of the key improvements in traffic safety. And then on Wellington, which is on the top of your screen, moving west, you can see from the intersection, you can see the existing access, again, that's closer to the signalized intersection being moved further west. Again, that's reducing the likelihood that traffic backs up from 17th and Wellington and blocks the access. As far as internal access is concerned, Councilman Spears, on the western property line where the red dashed line is, there is currently an access from this property to the doctor's office to the west, and that is being shut down. And then the property line on the south, where you can see sort of the diagonal roadway or diagonal drive that then S-turns down to the south, that's the Food Lion parking lot. So that's the 3 points of access to the property after its redevelopment. Now, the doctor's office to the west, we had our community meeting back in September, and from September until March, we were working with the doctors on how to satisfy them about their concerns. Most of them are pediatricians, and they obviously had concerns about parking, about traffic. And if you look in the lower left-hand corner of the image on your screen, you'll notice a small black box. And that small black box is actually part of this property. And it is not part of the redevelopment plan because in our negotiation with the doctors, what we've agreed to is to grant those doctors a perpetual parking easement for their property. So we are going to essentially slice it off so that the doctor's offices have more parking. So in addition to slicing that off for their parking, we're also putting in a speed bump through their property to slow down traffic as a calming measure, and cutting off that internal access so we don't have people coming from the Wawa property through the doctor's office. We've agreed and negotiated with the doctor's office to provide additional buffers and screening, a specific type of fence. We've agreed to provide lighting, and I believe the doctors are here to support the project, or at least a representative of the group. It's a condominium association with several different offices there. But we've worked really hard to make this a safe project for the property to the west. As Nadine noted, we are adding pedestrian-friendly safety things at the light at 17th and Wellington. There will be a new crosswalk. I had to drive by there on the way here tonight to make sure there wasn't one there already, but there is not, and it'll have the pedestrian walk signs, you know, the red flashing sign to walk. It'll be a push button thing, so it'll make that intersection safer. The people crossing from the Wellington apartments down the road, crossing 17th Street to access the doctor's offices and those types of things on the other side of 17th. This is a project that makes that intersection safer. So with that being said, we're certainly happy to answer any questions you may have, both technically and sort of overall from a planning perspective.
Mr. Ravenbark?
It's a beautiful plan. It really is. You've checked all the boxes, but the 800-pound gorilla in the room, we see redevelopment all the time down here. But generally what we see is where there's a distressed corner, much like this, and it doesn't cause any heartburn to take those things down and build the new thing. But what we've got here, we've got two healthy, functioning businesses that are going to be shown the door. And I believe in property rights, strongly believe in people's right to do what they want to with their property. But that's something that you've addressed everything in the world except that. And I appreciate that you're hired by these folks to bring it down here and march it before us. But I have a real problem with the relocation or possible not relocation of these two businesses. They've been there a long time. They've paid their dues. And I don't know that there's anything that we can do that would prevent that, but I don't like it. I just think there's too many quality corners that could be had. I mean, you guys apparently money is not an object. So that's my 2 cents worth here tonight. But I know the business owners. I don't frequent either of them. I've been to both of them back in the day. I don't live in that neighborhood anymore, but I know that they're committed to their business. They have a great following, and I feel for them tonight. I really do.
I appreciate that, Councilman Rivenbark, and our clients are not immune to those same feelings. The reality is that the property owner wants to sell their property.
Oh, I understand that.
And well, I'll leave it at that. It's somebody's right to sell their property.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I just don't like the way this one's being done. Thank you.
Mr. Spears?
It feels so weird when I agree with Charlie. I was kind of throwing the soft pitches out to you, and I was hoping the owner would come up so I can ask the question. Charlie, you beat me to the punch. But that is a huge concern. Are these businesses flailing? No, active businesses. The Wawa guy came up and talked about all the benefits that he brings to the community and competitive wages and things of that nature. Is he going to hire some of these employees or something of that nature? Again, I agree with Charlie. I don't like that. I can understand if the entire property was desolate and, not being used. I mean, we get it. Pizza Hut is closed down. Put a mini Wawa where the Pizza Hut used to be. But, to run these businesses out from this area that still want to thrive and are still thriving, it just doesn't seem right to us, especially to me. So That's just my little piece. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Spears.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm going to open the public hearing. I will set the public hearing at 30 minutes. Each speaker will be allotted 2 minutes. The clerk will have a timer. When you hear your buzzer, your time is up. I know there's a lot of people that think they want to speak on this particular issue. And it is now open. If you also state your name for the record and where you live.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilman, and ladies. My name is Jason Ruth. I am one of the businesses that you all were just discussing. My business partner and I, Matt Hall, who's here with me today, own Tiny's Tavern. We've been there 18 years. We're also, the owner of PT's was here earlier. He's been in business 20 years. It was a nice presentation from the Wawa folk. I want the council and the mayor to understand we are not opposed to new business coming to Wilmington. We understand that that's part of a growth for a city. But there are plenty of other locations for this business to be. Tonight we have lots of residents from that neighborhood, including some of our partners and customers here with us. If you people will stand up or clap. All these folks oppose this location. They don't oppose Wawa. Thank you all. They don't oppose Wawa, they oppose the location. To come into town, as you all can see on the screen, this is the current state of the shopping center. Unfortunately, as Wawa stated incorrectly, and I strongly disagree with, it is not run down. We keep our properties up. Most of you, all of you live here and you come here and you've been to that shopping center. It's not a desolate area. It's also disingenuous to say, honestly, that traffic is going to be better. Let's just be blunt. There's no chance traffic is going to be better with a gas station that's running that many people through on a regular basis. We're small mom and pop stores, as an example to you all. Every Veterans Day, we do a benefit for VVA 884 here in Wilmington and the Canines for Service. Last year, we raised over $16,000 in one day for that organization. We spend our money locally. Our people spend our money locally. They talk about employees. That's great. We have employees. They have families. This means for us losing local business. It means losing more of the character of Wilmington. One of the things that I wanted to say, they say they're not a convenience store, and as you all can see on the thing, it says specifically on their own website, they're a convenience store and gas station. Wawa was the largest convenience store chain in greater Philadelphia. This would make the 5th gas station within a 2-mile radius of that location. That does not include the Sheetz that's going to open at Independence Boulevard and Shipyard Boulevard. Do we need 6 gas stations in that area? And I ask all of you this, they claim to be a restaurant. Would a restaurant not have indoor seating? Would a restaurant have to ask for a variance for parking just to get approved through you all? So what we're asking here tonight, again, I don't want you to think we're anti-business, because we certainly are not. We encourage new business to come. But for that neighborhood and for what sits in that area, these businesses have developed families, ours included. The people there need these mom and pop businesses, and they don't need these major corporations in that location.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Just a real question. You currently own your location or you rent your location?
We rent our location, Mr. Mayor.
And you've been renting it from the same individual for 18 years?
Yes, sir. Dr. Tom Meelan is the landlord for the location.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Next, please.
Thank you all.
Let me ask him a quick question. Was the offer for you to purchase this property out there?
No, sir, Councilman. We had absolutely no idea. We actually found out from a flyer in September of last year about the public meeting. Our landlord actually never contacted us. We actually ended up contacting them, the same with all of the tenants in that shopping center. That was definitely something we would have been interested in, to be 100% honest with you, sir. I mean, we would have bought that shopping center and protected it because there are good tenants in there, and that neighborhood needs that shopping center.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you all.
Next, please.
Hi, good evening, Council. I'm Dr. Young. I represent the Property Owners Association off of Wellington Point, which is 6 medical offices. We've been in negotiations with Wawa's for about 6 months now, and Wawa's has completed those negotiations. They have accommodated us in everything we've asked for, and so we have no objection to Wawa's.
Mrs. Spears.
But did you ever think about offering the purchase of this property to your current tenants?
No, I'm sorry. I represent the property owners of Wellington Point, which is east.
Oh, well, okay.
And we have the adjoining property.
So you're just stating that you're for this?
Yeah, so I spoke in front of the planning board, and I'm here to tell you that our negotiations are complete and they have accommodated us, yes. Our negotiations with Wawa are complete, and Wawa has accommodated us in our requests, and essentially safety, cameras, fencing, parking, et cetera.
Are there any safety concerns that you have currently?
We did have some safety concerns about foot traffic. Wawa is going to put a fence on the east side of the property. Also, too, Wawa's is going to help us pay for cameras, and we've also come in recently with Duke and increased our lighting in the area.
Mr. Waddell.
I think what Councilman Spears was maybe asking was with the existing use of the property, is that what's predicated the request of Wawa to have cameras on the property and lights? Have you had specific instances that require that, or is it just an increase in security overall?
So we do have an existing camera on the property, and Wawa's has offered to pay for an additional camera.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next, please.
Hello, my name is Maria. I am a Wilmington resident. I have lived here my whole entire life. I'm a part of a generation of African Americans that my grandfather grew up in Seabreeze when Seabreeze was still a lot of African Americans were living there. I have lived in this area. I live off of Harbor Drive for about 2-ish years, 3-ish years. I grew up in downtown Wilmington, right off of 17th Street, 17th and Church, right near where the cargo district is. And to see a gas station that wants to come in and take away local businesses, places where I grew up going to, PTs, we used to go there for a marching band right before like football games on Friday nights, because I went to New Hanover High School right up the road, and those memories that were made in that establishment with my friends, with my peers, and I still continue to go there. It's one of my favorite spots to go to. I'm old enough to drink now, so I go to Tiny's Tavern, and it's really close to my home, so I feel safe, and I feel like I can walk there at night, and I don't feel like I need to come downtown and potentially do any type of dangerous action, because even though I could take an Uber downtown, but like, it would be so much safer just to like walk with my friends to and from my apartment to Tiny's Tavern. And it's just, I feel so welcomed in that community, in that area. I've always, I can't, the amount of emotion that's inside of me right now. And I saw a post on Facebook when my friends was just like, they're going to tear down all these businesses. And I'm like, what's the point of it? When there are already businesses that are thriving and growing and already give so much to the community, I don't see a point in it personally. I mean, Wawa, please come to our town. I was kind of excited to hear you're going to come here, but then when I heard about how you're going to take away businesses that I love to support personally, like, is there, like, there's so many other street corners around town that you could easily go to. And is this one really necessary to take apart people's lives, people's livelihoods? I love being a regular at restaurants. I love supporting local businesses any chance that I can get. even though I'm a struggling 20-something-year-old, I try to shop local as much as I can. I try not to go to the big corporations because I want to support local businesses. And to take away a local business, multiple local businesses, like, is that really showing support? Thank you.
One quick comment. Just a quick comment. The council up here, we don't drive the market. Let me finish. We had an issue over on the corner of Carolina Beach Road and Independence some months back about a car wash. The market always will take care of itself. You know, we're being asked tonight to make sense of the zoning there, and that's all we're being asked to do. Now, if we do that, they're going to move forward. I have a real problem with it, just like you do, young lady. I just do. But as I stated when I was talking to the gentleman, I believe in a person's property rights, and if for some reason this did not fly tonight, nothing would prevent the owner of that property from turning right around tomorrow and selling it to the next person that came along. So just wanted to be clear on that. We get accused up here. I've had probably 50 emails that I'm lining my pockets with gold, and you know, we ought to be run out of town on a rail for the things we do, and it's just not, that's just not the way it is. Just wanted to clear that.
Next.
Hello, my name is Angela Mullins. Have any of y'all drove down Wellington Avenue lately? I don't know about those people, but it's terrible. It has potholes, it has manhole covers up, and if you put more traffic on that road, it's just going to be terrible. And then I have another question about the hospital. It's our only hospital, and you're going to put more traffic going toward 17th, 16th Street. What about the emergency vehicles? I mean, trying to get to the hospital, and you got all this Wawas and all the people there, you know, getting in and out. And 17th Street is crazy when you get off at 5 o'clock and try to get up, going toward Dawson Street to the bridge, you know. And I'm just thinking, you know, the hospital can't handle what we have now, and we're not even planning on building a new hospital that I know of. And I mean, have you been there in the emergency room at Friday night or Saturday night where the people line the hall in stretchers? I mean, they're understaffed. They come in our local business and, you know, relieve stress. I don't think they're going to go hang out at Wawa's when they get off working 12 hours at the hospital. But I'm just worried about the traffic, you know, with the vehicles, trying to get somebody having a heart attack to the hospital or whatever, you know. And there's a lot of traffic on that street now, and then it's going to create more traffic. That's all I got.
Thank you, ma'am. Next.
Good evening. My name is Dorian Cromartie. My thing is, Wawa's got up here and said that they believe in building a family, having community connections. Now, I'm a person that believes in community connections. Now, I went to PT's Grill for the first time with my long-term girlfriend, and she loved that place. And then before that, I went to it and built another memory of going to Specialist Antonio Moore's funeral service afterwards. That's where we went to eat, me and several of volunteers. This company is worth $13 billion, or have a revenue of $13 billion, and donates $125 million. Now, as we all know, there are a lot of nonprofits in this community that could use a little bit more help with what they're doing, good help. So all I'm saying is for them to get up and to say that they are for community, they're for building families, they're for being for people, but haven't done any work. And as you all know, I'm one person that believes in doing the work for the community before you say, I have community connections. And I think that's not right. And I don't think it's right for them to say that. I don't think this plan is right. It doesn't sit well with me. I live 4 streets over, and it's already hard enough as it is trying to get the food line the way it is. Now, with a gas station there, it's going to be twice as hard. And I like to cook. And I honestly believe that this will probably drive down my love of cooking because I can't get to my food line. So I'm just saying that this ain't right. That you can't make sense of this. They have enough money to do well. And if they really want to do well and do good for this community, I think they should put their money where their mouth is first. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Katrina Wojtaszynski. I am a homeowner and a big-time small business supporter here in the city of Wilmington. One of the questions that I really want to know is, we heard members of the city earlier with some of their budgets, and we also heard that we can barely staff people right now for those lower wage jobs, for city jobs. So if we're going to bring an establishment like Wawa in that's wiping out businesses, relocation's really difficult for a business. I myself have a family member who years ago had moved their business by eminent domain. It's exceptionally hard, and oftentimes you can't recoup. So I want to know, how much are you offering for those positions? Because I don't think we're truly going to be able to staff those if we can't staff city jobs right now. We got to keep it local. I agree 100% with the expansions. I've read a lot of the city policies, a lot of our 25-year plan. I got a few problems with it as a business owner, as a resident of Sunset Park Historic. We can talk about that another time. But I think we got to stay true to the roots of Wilmington. The beautiful part of Wilmington is that we are a tight-knit community. Putting a sizable property like Wawa, a sizable business, I think actually takes away tremendously from the value of what Wilmington actually has to offer for people bringing not only businesses here, but families.
Next. Somebody else?
Hi, my name is Star, and I, for many years back in the day, used to live in that area on Wellington. I became a very good and comfortable member of Tiny's back in that area and back in the day, watching my football games, go Pack, and just really enjoying the atmosphere. These people aren't out here to bash Wawas. They're not out here to talk junk about it. It's a business. It's the world. That's how this works. Wilmington, my sister stated completely, Wilmington is like Tetris right now. We just got buildings just pop, 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 pop everywhere. It just a bad situation. It's a sad situation that choices have to be made like this. But at the end of the day, it's going to go either way. But it would be nice to just keep some things home and just keep it genuine that when I go back down the street, the next 10, 15, 20 years is still sitting there. Those are some very good people back there, some very good owners back there, some good businesses back there. And again, it's no disrespect to Wawas by any means. I know it sounds like it's an attack on them, and it shouldn't be. But we do ask that you seriously, in consideration, think of another area or figure out something else. Even speaking to the owner, could you please, of that property, come up with some type of other plan that we can keep these buildings there? Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, how many minutes do we have left on the,
You have 10 minutes left.
okay. Any other people that want to speak on this item? And please state your name and where you live for the record, please.
My name is Daniel Prince. I've been a Wilmingtonian for going on 18 years. Most of that has been in the service industry, so I see people on a daily basis that have an opinion about everything. One thing when I first started working in town was the amount people would talk from out of town about how many local businesses that we had. Lately, that has been surpassed by the amount of traffic problems that we have. We've addressed on the way to the hospital, but on the way back towards the graveyard, headed towards Shipyard Boulevard, any given time of the day now, traffic is blocked up where you're already only getting 3 to 5 cars through on a stoplight. To put something of that magnitude right there, that close to that stoplight, is going to do nothing but increase the amount of accidents that are already at that light. Beyond that, I can talk about the love I found from Tiny's Tavern, acceptance, friends that have become like family. At the end of the day, I understand it's about business. But should we just tear down something because somebody says it's okay? Let's move forward. Or should we keep in some sort of historic memories in that area rather than just advance for the sake of advancement? Thank you.
Did you want to say something? Your name was in the queue. No.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
could I ask the attorney, have you looked at any other alternate locations for Wawa?
Thank you, Councilman Spears. My client is a group that develops these sites for Wawa, and they spread out far and wide looking for sites all over the place. And it's competitive because you've got the same properties that are car washes, the same properties that are office buildings, any of these redevelopment sites. And, you know, obviously we don't have any ill will, and we're not trying to drive anybody out of business. That's not the purpose, right? The purpose is to identify sites that make sense for redevelopment for Wawas. And so to answer your question, I'm sorry I give you the long-winded explanation,
No, that's
but
fine.
of course, yeah, we're looking everywhere, but it is unbelievably competitive in southeastern North Carolina, as I'm sure you know. You've got folks coming in front of you every 2 weeks asking you to approve a new project, whether it's apartments or a new residential development or an office building. And when I got a chance to come up here and do a rebuttal, that's what I was going to say, is this site is a redevelopment site. That's why the people that own it are selling it, is because it's worth more as something else than what it is today. And whether that's a Wawa or a medical building or a mini storage or a car wash, I don't know what it'll be, but it will be something. And so, again, I'm sorry for the long-winded explanation.
No, that's fine.
But yes, of course, Wawa is looking everywhere for sites that make sense to develop from an economic standpoint.
I mean, locally, Wilmington.
Locally,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
And if I were freed by my client to tell you about all the properties, I would. But not the properties that are under contract, but the constant effort. There's a team of people that are always looking for sites. And there's not 20 of them in Wilmington. There's maybe 8 or 10 total that are suitable for this kind of development that haven't already been taken by other types of redevelopment projects.
And none of these investors are local?
Some of them are local to North Carolina. I'm not sure about
Wilmingtonians.
In Wawa itself?
No, in yeah, I guess so.
Wawa's
Not Wawa itself, but the group that's purchasing the property to bring to Wawa.
They are not located in Wilmington, that is correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Excuse me, sir, just a question. I mean, the shopping strip there where PT's and Tiny's is owned by a doctor here in town. Is here in town?
That's correct.
And the gentleman, I believe, Mr. Ruff, that owns Tiny's, had indicated that he had been notified through a flyer. And he's been renting that spot for 18 years. I guess PT's has been there for quite some time also. I mean, just as a courtesy, as a landlord to a tenant, and we've seen those relationships, somebody just couldn't pick up the phone and just tell him that we're thinking about selling this, so maybe giving him the opportunity to relocate his business somewhere. I mean, I see where everybody's coming from here. I understand the dilemma too, that as a landlord or the owner of the property, he has a right to terminate leases, rewrite leases, or whatever the case may be. But just as a courtesy, I would imagine somebody would pick up the telephone and says, hey, you've been my business partner basically for 18 years here, and you've built a heck of a business. I want you to know my family's situation has changed. I've gotten older. I'm thinking about selling the property. None of that?
Thank you, Mayor Saffo. First of all, I don't represent that property owner.
I understand.
Right? As I understand it, that property owner operated a hearing, he was a hearing doctor, and that he had his office there as well at one point, and he's not operating anymore. So he put it up for sale. As I understand it, the way that the tenants found out was that when the city sent out notice of, or when our engineering firm sent out notice of the public meeting, so this is before any application to rezone, that's how they got notice. And they didn't get notice as owners of the property because they weren't owners of the property, and somebody else told them about it. So I don't know if council wants to look at maybe the notice requirements for these public meetings.
It's just common courtesy in business. If you've been in business that long with somebody, and no disrespect to anybody here, but he's been in business with these people for 18 years. And he seems like a nice fella, and these customers are passionate about the place, and I understand that. But we also understand he has a right to sell it to anybody, and he could terminate the lease tomorrow, and Mr. Ruff would be out anyway, and so would PT's. But I just think just the way this thing has gone down, I think is wrong. And I know, as Mr. Reinbark alluded to, we have to base this on the facts of the rezoning per se, but I can understand why people don't feel right about this, and there are some good small businesses there, and I frequent PT's quite often, and been to Tiny's before, and there's a good clientele of people there, and I just would have thought that somebody would have picked up the telephone, or at least gone to face and talked to these people, or talked to this gentleman that has run these businesses. Anyway, that's my commentary.
For what it's worth, I agree with you. I would think if I were the landlord, I would have done that myself, but I'm not, you know.
Okay. All right. Yes, did you have Mr. Reinbark?
May not be the person to ask this to, but was the property ever listed?
I don't believe that it was.
I don't think it was either, because I'm in that business.
I know you're in the business.
And I do site selection, and I certainly appreciate somebody looking for the best possible space. And, you know, I can assure you when Sheets comes before us or goes before the TRC at the corner of Independence and Shipyard, they won't fill a room up because it's a vacant land.
It's by right, I believe, as well.
By right. Thank you, sir.
We have a gentleman, sir.
Good evening. My name is John Claude Ham. I am the owner of Ham Hearing Aid Center at 1608 Wellington Avenue, so it's good to see you all tonight. I want to speak a little. I wasn't planning to speak tonight because I didn't want to seem self-serving, but I kind of want to expand the paradigm here as it relates to other small businesses. I've had my practice in Wilmington for 22 years. We've been able to serve over 10,000 hearing patients. That's a demographic that's going to continue to grow in the coming years. I did not seek to sell my property. My property was not listed. The people who were wanting to develop the land for Wawa came in, and they made me as a small business owner an offer that was fair and reasonable and gave me the opportunity to potentially expand my business to help our patients. So we're going to invest in another piece of property, and we're going to expand our staff so that we can better serve the 10,000 people a day who are turning 69 years of age, which is the average age of the first time you purchase a hearing aid. So I have great empathy for our neighbors. We've had a great relationship. I agree with everyone and everything that's being said, that it was handled in a way that was not appropriate, and it's unfortunate. But there are other small business owners involved in this as well, local owners. I've been a member of the community for 22 years, and we're going to take this opportunity and make it work for the citizens of Wilmington and improve our services. So just wanted to share that as well. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir, come on through.
Yeah. I've got a question. I'll let him talk. Go on, sir.
Yes, sir, come forward, please.
Apologize.
How y'all doing? My name is Murad Salam. I am a local business owner here in Wilmington. I've been here since '99. I understand opportunity and development. I get that, but I'm always going to be an advocate for small business. That is number one. That is the backbone of our society. I also believe, me being a business owner, also on 17th Street, it's a little farther down, closer to Market, but traffic is definitely an issue. Making it worse will not make it better. And also, if, you know, I had a landlord that had an opportunity to sell, I would think that, you know, they would give me as a business owner the opportunity to purchase. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Madam Clerk, how much time we have?
2 minutes.
Okay. I would like to ask you, have you received any additional commentary, ma'am?
No, sir, not for this item. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any further questions from council? Mr. Burnett, did you?
I was just going to ask, were any of the other small businesses approached, like the hearing doctor was? And, you know, it's the price of growth, you know. The owner owns the property, and so he has the right to do what he chooses to do with it. I think that there were some things that perhaps he could have done a little differently, like if you're my landlord, I mean, at least talk to me, let me know what's going to happen. But it's just an opportunity for Wawa to come in and do what they're doing. So that's all I wanted to share.
The gentleman that was handling the traffic engineer, could you come up here a second? Could you repeat the improvements that you're making to this intersection and to this location over and above what the current situation is today?
Yes, sir. So we will be realigning the left turn lanes on 17th Street. So currently the left turn lanes, there's a large median there. And as a result, you can only turn left when you have a green arrow. So we're going to move the left turn lanes, shift them over so you have better visibility, and which will allow more efficient left turns.
Coming
On 17th Street.
going north?
North and south.
North and south.
Correct.
So you're making an improvement to that intersection with the
Yes, sir.
Department of Transportation?
Yes, sir.
That is NCDOT, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And what else are you doing?
Then we'll be adding the sidewalks and the pedestrian signal and pedestrian crossing so pedestrians can cross 17th Street. We'll be adding turn lane for the driveway on 17th Street, and then moving those driveways away from the intersection, both
Okay.
the one on Wellington and the one on 17th.
And then, of course, you've got a right in and right out off of Wellington?
On Wellington, it's a full access.
Full access?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And then 17th Street will be right in, right out. And then reusing the existing access connection to Food Line.
What were the projections, the traffic impacts on this, or were they? Did you have any traffic? When you did the analysis on the traffic impact,
Yes, sir.
what was the number? Was there?
The number?
Yeah, like, was it going to create much more traffic? Was it
Oh.
going to create less traffic?
Correct. So Wawa, I mean, a convenience store is not necessarily a destination site. It serves typically more of the existing traffic stream. Obviously, people now are going to be turning in and out. That wouldn't normally, but most of the traffic is going to be existing traffic. So the site, approximately 20 to 30% of the site traffic is new traffic. And that equates to, I think, 129 additional trips in the morning and 46 additional trips in the evening.
$125 in the morning, 46 in the evening.
Yeah,
Over and above what the current number is currently.
Correct, 129 in the morning and 42 in the evening.
And DOT and CDOT obviously reviewed that and checked off on it?
They are in review of it.
They're in review of it, okay, very good. All right, Mrs. Spears, did you have a question, sir?
Sir, you confused me a little bit with this left turn improvements because you previously stated that there were only right turns. So where are the left turns? What left turn improvements are you gonna make on 17th Street?
At the signal.
At Wellington?
Correct. The existing signal at 17th and Wellington.
Right.
So now, since there's no direct access from 17th Street, left turn access into the site, people will turn left at the signal and then turn left on Wellington, and then Wellington turn left into the site. So we're improving that left turn movement.
So where the music store is, you're gonna make an improvement there?
No, it's on 17th Street.
Right.
There's a grass median on 17th Street.
Going into
at the signal.
No, I can't see that, man.
So if looking on the plan, you can see northbound and southbound 17th Street.
Yeah.
And there's the grass strip separating northbound and southbound. It's about 16 feet wide.
Can we give him an arrow or something?
Give him a pointer.
Give him a pointer, yeah, let's get a pointer. Can we get a pointer? Thank you.
I don't remember north and south like I used to.
Okay, so right, I was afraid of that. Okay. Now I've lost it go. Okay. This is northbound, and this is the existing left turn lane. So this is where people turn left from 17th to get onto Wellington. So
Okay.
we're gonna shift.
Wait. Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
Why would you improve that when there's no entrance to come into your property from Wellington?
Because for people going north, if they're going towards the hospital and they want to go to the Wawa, they have to turn left at that signal and then turn. So they'll have to turn on to Wellington and then turn on to the site.
Okay.
In all fairness, most of these things that you're doing, you were required to do. I mean, like relocating the driveways. I know when you redevelop a property, everything has to fall under the existing code.
Correct.
So the driveway locations, that was something anybody would have to do. The improvements you're making to the intersection, I don't know who told you had to do it, or if you're just doing it out of the goodness of your heart.
It's part of our traffic analysis.
Okay.
So we recognized an impact on that, and so this is improving how that signal operates, how the intersection operates.
You wouldn't be able to develop the property without doing that? If your analysis says you
Correct.
need to? Okay.
Correct.
So, I mean, we're glad somebody's doing it. I hope it's on your nickel. But, I mean, you were required to do a lot of those things anyway.
Based on our analysis, yes.
Well, based on our TRC and our redevelopment code, you wouldn't have been able to keep those two driveway curb cuts on 17th Street. And the one on Wellington would have probably had to have been moved as far away from the intersection for stacking purposes.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay. Any additional questions from council? And nobody in there to speak? Okay. How many minutes?
The time is up.
Okay, thank you. All right. So we have any additional questions for city staff or any of the applicants? If we don't see any, I'm going to close the public hearing. And if there are no further questions, I will ask for the wishes of council in respect to the item PH2. We have a motion to accept by Councilmember Barnett. Councilmember Barnett, you will have to read a consistent statement for the record. We have a second to that by Councilmember Waddell.
I move to approve the proposed amendment to rezone property located at 2402, 2406, and 2420 South 17th Street and 1608 Wellington Avenue from O&I Office and Institutional District and CBCD Community Business to CBCD Community Business Conditional District for general retail use with associated fuel pumps and a restaurant, and finding to be consistent with the relevant policies in the comprehensive plan, based on the application materials and the information provided at the public hearing and in the staff report, and to find approval of the rezoning request is reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The proposed rezoning would allow for a compatible commercial use along a major thoroughfare and near large employment centers.
All right, and all in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that item passes 4-2. Is there a motion to waive second reading? Motion made by Councilmember Haynes, second by Councilmember Barnett. Discussion, all in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item fails for lack of a unanimous vote on second reading, so we'll listen to this one at our second meeting, which will be with one vote. So this will move on to item number PH3A, PH3B, and PH3C. And PH3A is an ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the city of Wilmington, North Carolina. Item PH3B is an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city to initially zone property containing 1.87 acres of land located at 5029 Carolina Beach Road to MD17CD high-density multi-dwelling residential district, conditional district for a 56-unit multi-dwelling senior housing development. And then item PH3C is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Terrier Development LLC for gap financing for affordable workforce housing utilizing $1 million of HUD home funds. This time I'd like to recognize Mr. Tom Moten, Deputy City Manager.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, item 3A and 3B will be presented with one presentation, one public hearing. However, we need to vote on each item separately. Item 3C is not a public hearing. However, if you choose to approve 3A, 3B, then action will be taken on 3C. If you fail to approve 3A, there's no need for item 3B, which would be the rezoning, a zoning assigned to the annexation. At this time, I'd like to recognize Patrick O. Mahiney to make the presentation on behalf of staff.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Just for clarification and to make it a little more confusing, I'll be presenting items PH 3A and 3B. First, what I'm going to hit on is the annexation portion. This proposal is to annex 1.87 acres located at 5029 Carolina Beach Road into the city limits. This petition meets the statutory requirements for contiguous annexation and the city's adopted annexation policy. The site is adjacent to MD17 CD zoning. This is a contiguous satellite property of the city. The request includes the conditional district rezoning request MD17 CD, as previously mentioned. This is for a 56-unit affordable housing, senior housing development. I'll go into that in a little more detail later. Here are the minimum statutory requirements. The criteria for this non-contiguous annexation area is shown on your screen. They're also listed in your case summary in a little more detail. As mentioned, this request does meet all the statutory requirements for non-contiguous areas proposed for annexation. Input from city staff was obtained in the annexation analysis to determine the costs of extending services and that they would not outweigh the benefits to the annexation and no known negative impacts of city services would occur. As shown on your screen and in your case summaries, there are no negative impacts anticipated. Per the approved annexation policy, the effective date of this annexation, if approved, would be June 1st, 2023. So now we're going to shift slightly, and I'd like to describe the conditional district portion of the request. These are photos of existing conditions on the subject property, as well as some adjacent connections looking along Sandlapper Way, which is the main entrance to the property. And these are some photos of the adjacent properties and land uses. So as mentioned, the applicant's requesting an initial zoning of MD17 CD, since this high-density multi-dwelling residential district, conditional district, for the aforementioned 56-unit multi-dwelling affordable senior housing development. The access will be provided off of Sandlapper Way, which is an existing drive. No access to Carolina Beach Road is proposed with this project. There will be a multi-use path provided. This will be along the frontage along Carolina Beach Road, which will ultimately connect to a new trail being constructed to the south by NCDOT, which will be built in front of the Willoughby Park neighborhood and continue on south toward the Monkey Junction area where the Walmart and commercial development is. These are elevations provided by the applicant. Top elevation would be facing Carolina Beach Road. So the Create Wilmington Comprehensive Plan promotes affordable and senior housing dispersed strategically throughout the city. The proposal creates additional density along a high-capacity transit corridor, which is near commercial services and transit stops. There's a Wave transit stop just to the south of this property in front of Willoughby Park. Based on the findings presented in the staff report, both the annexation and the conditional district, as well as the adopted annexation policy, staff recommends approval of the voluntary annexation. Staff also believes this proposed zoning amendment, the conditional district rezoning request, is consistent with the Create Wilmington Comprehensive Plan, and it's reasonable in the public interest. Staff recommends conditional approval with the conditions listed in the case summary. Planning Commission also unanimously recommended approval at their April meeting. Happy to answer any questions that you might have. The applicant's here as well, and I believe they have a presentation too.
Any questions of the staff? Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
This time to recognize the applicant.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council.
Lower that microphone.
Oh, right. Thank you. I'm taller than I seem, right? So, good evening, Mayor and members of council. It's nice to see you tonight. I brought my boss with me and my business partner. She is Joan Norris. She's sitting there. We are a local business. We are the developer of the property. We are also the property management firm. We're based here in Wilmington, so I'm proud to say that. We chose this site, as you know, because it's a highly competitive area that we live in. Affordable housing, you have to be very strategic in your choices that you make because your rents are restricted, well below market rate rents, and so you do your best to find the property as it comes to you. So we thought this property was well suited for an affordable community because of its location and its close proximity to Walmart Supercenter and kind of all that comes with Walmart. We're on the good side of Carolina Beach Road, and by that I mean we can utilize the Carolina Beach Road Trail, and our residents can walk to the front door of Walmart and any of the services there surrounding Walmart. They could ride their bikes, and we do have residents that use three-wheel bikes that go to the grocery store there from one of our other properties. They can ride their motorized wheelchairs if they so choose. So we just felt like this site was a much better suited location. It's a highest and best use of this location for affordable housing than it would be for one more standalone office building or something of that nature. What I'm really proud of about this program that we are in for affordable housing, it's a tax credit program, is you can literally stand on the street and you can look at our housing and you cannot tell that it's not market rate housing. No, we don't have a resort-style pool and some of the other amenities that come with market rate, but this is good quality housing. We use durable materials, long-lasting, low-maintenance materials, brick, hardy plank, or fibrous cement siding, to improve the long-standing viability of these properties. This is the site plan that was just presented to you. There's a few additions to it with some of the trees that are located on the property. But obviously we meet all the land development code criteria to be standing here in front of you tonight. But so one of the big things I would like to tackle that's our elephant in the room with regard to this property is it's a 4-story building. There really are not many 4-story buildings along Carolina Beach Road right now. So that is the challenge, but it is an infill property. We're trying to take advantage of that opportunity, just like with the location that we're in. And yes, it's a 4-story building. The adjacent community, Willoughby Park, immediately adjacent to us is a single-story duplex building, a 2-story duplex building. So yes, there are some challenges there that we've been talking with the local residents about. The good news is from the rear of our building, the closest proximity to one of their existing buildings, the Willoughby Park buildings, is 70 feet. So you have 70 feet from the back wall of our building to the closest back wall of their building. And in between that 70 feet, we have a very dense vegetated area. Some of it is on the Willoughby Park property. Since they're in the city of Wilmington, they were required to create a type B buffer because at the time that they developed their property, only a single-family home and property existed where we are proposing Sterling Reserve. So they have their own type B buffer. There are some existing trees also on the Sterling Reserve property. And there is an existing privacy fence that is, I believe, a 6-foot wood privacy fence. And that privacy fence is going to remain. And further down into my slides, I'm going to show you some additional photographs of what that existing buffer looks like. But essentially, since that privacy fence is going to remain in place, everything between that privacy fence and the back of the Willoughby Park townhomes, that vegetation is also going to remain. So you'll be able to see that further along in some of the photographs. The proposed building as designed, as you've seen it, is a 4-story building, as I mentioned, and from concrete slab to peak of roof, that's approximately 52 linear feet. The arborist that we consulted with for the tree save and some of the other features on the property said that the existing mature pines on the property itself are somewhere between 60 to 70 feet, some possibly even higher than that. Existing mature hardwoods are somewhere between 40 to 50 feet as they exist on the property. So yes, you will see this building from the Willoughby Park property, maybe not right out of their back door, but certainly in other parts of Willoughby Park, but you are going to have broken views of it. You probably will see, the upper portion of the building, but they will be broken views. This is the floor plan showing you the width of the building essentially and some of the amenities that are going to be located within the building. I realize there's a lot to see on this slide, but happy to answer any questions about the activities within the building itself. It is roughly 255 linear feet long as it stretches across the property. This is essentially an existing apartment community that we've developed in Wilmington. It's Bennett Village Apartments. Very similar architectural style, very similar materials and colors. Obviously, this one is a 38-foot high building as a 3-story building, but I just wanted to give you a sense of context of what the building for real will look like with the materials that we're choosing. I'm happy to delve into kind of the unit mix and the income strategy that we have for it, or I can keep talking about the site a little further if you like.
Wait, Mr. Spears has a question,
Oh,
Stephanie.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
So your target tenants are seniors, right?
Seniors 55 plus, there probably will be an occasional resident who's not 55 plus. In all likelihood, that resident may have a disability or some other reason for living in our community.
Right. But 4 stories and seniors don't typically.
Very good. I see where you're going with this. So we do have an elevator located in the building, correct, that will service all floors. As well, the first 2 floors will have some of the amenities, what I call amenities, into the interior to the building, kind of scattered throughout the first and second floors. 3rd and 4th floors will be all residential units. So first, second floor, amenities and residential units, and then third and 4th, all residential units.
And your closest proximity to a bus stop?
It is in front of Willoughby Park. I would venture to say 1,000 feet, but I have not measured it myself, but I can find the answer to that.
No, you're fine. Thank you.
You're welcome. So this particular aerial photograph is of the Willoughby Park property, which is located really kind of to the south of the yellow line. The yellow line is your current city limits line. And I'm showing you the existing single-family home that's on the property. That is a 2-story home. And the existing wood fence, which is a bit shadowed with the aerial photograph. Also, you see Woodridge Point, 2 of their 3-story buildings as they exist today. So the letters that you see are actually photograph references, correct? So as I step through this, I can flip back to this aerial photograph to show you where that was taken. So my very first photograph was taken on Willoughby Park Drive, looking toward the 3-story building at Woodridge Point to give you a perspective of what you see of that, or what the residents see of that 3-story building currently. And then I stepped further down Willoughby Park back toward Carolina Beach Road and took some additional photographs just to give you a perspective of the existing vegetation and its density. And I'm totally messing you up here because I'm actually starting with photograph I, which is on the Sterling Reserve property itself. So if you're standing on Carolina Beach Road, your back's to Carolina Beach, and you're looking toward the single-family home that is in the Sterling Reserve property, and you can see that single family, that is the existing fence that's going to remain on the property. So all the vegetation that's to the right in that photograph is also going to remain. And then photo J is me standing kind of in the middle of the Sterling Reserve, looking toward Willoughby Park. This is the photograph A, that shows the existing 3-story building of Woodridge Point. Again, broken views, yes, you see the building. Yes, during the wintertime, you probably are going to see it more, but still, again, broken views. Photograph B, as you step a little bit closer toward Carolina Beach Road, this is looking toward what is the existing stormwater pond that services Willoughby Park and what will also serve the Sterling Reserve property. And then photograph C is obviously taken from across the street to give you a perspective of how high the trees are behind that existing building there. These 2 photographs are taken probably where the middle point, excuse me, or the midpoint of our proposed building is going to be. So that's the density of the existing vegetation, just standing probably closer to the street, and then as I make my way back to the back of the building there. You can kind of see in photograph E on the right side, and I know there's a pin pad. I don't know if I can, there we go. Right there, you can kind of see the top of the existing single-family home, maybe the roof line of that home. So as I made my way to the back of the building that you just saw and walked straight toward the vegetated buffer, photograph F is to the left at the back of the building, and photograph G is to the right, looking along the back line of the building. Again, wanted to give you just a sense of the density that is immediately off the back porch of the Willoughby Park townhomes. So in other words, you probably won't see anything immediately in front of you. Yes, if you look up, you probably will see some broken views of a 4-story building. And then this particular photograph is the end of the building that is closest to Carolina Beach Road, looking again back up the back line along that existing vegetation. And I'm happy to jump back to the aerial photograph if that would help you. But
Stephanie, real quick, the buffer there between the Willoughby Park and your property, what is that width of the vegetation that you're leaving in place?
good question. Let me jump back to here. So Willoughby Park, when they were developed, was only required to do a 15-foot type B buffer on their property. And then from the common property line going into the Sterling Reserve property, that is a 30-foot, actually easement and building setback and somewhat of a buffer. So from the common property line to the back of our building is 30 feet. And then if you step from the common property line toward Willoughby Park, you've got 15 feet and a buffer, and then another probably 5 or 10 feet to the back of the building. So that's where I came up with roughly 70 feet from building to building, essentially.
And will you be putting any additional vegetation like Leland cypresses or anything along that line?
We have not discussed it, but that could be an option,
Okay.
for sure.
All right, thank you. Mr. Barnett?
Yeah. Would you go back, or I guess going forward, to the place where, like, there was the, I want to call it an old fence, and you said that fence is going to stay up?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Right there?
right. Is that fence belongs to somebody else?
That fence belongs to the current owner of the Sterling Reserve site. So it belongs to the people that we have the property under contract with.
Okay, and it just looks like a fence that needs to be replaced. Have you thought about that?
I haven't examined it carefully. I mean, obviously, before we would ever open the property, I wouldn't want something kind of falling down. We would want to make repairs to it. So that is an analysis I'm certainly willing to do.
Okay.
Ma'am, sir, I'm sorry. The lady has the floor. We'll open up the public hearing, and you have the right to speak at that time. Thank you. Ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so hopefully I have at least painted a picture of what existing conditions look like. Again, broken views, you're not gonna be able to just have an opaque something or other there and never see a building. But it will be a very attractive building that we work hard to maintain. We work hard to maintain all of our properties. I'm open to any questions that you might have about us as a business structure, as an affordability element, or any other technical components to the site.
Question.
Spears?
So as you spoke on the affordability piece, could you give us the range of AMI?
Well, look what we have
Or
here.
did I
There we
miss
go.
it? Oh, I missed
No,
it.
no, I kind of skipped over it. I was saving the really good stuff for last. So unit mix-wise, within the 56 total units, we have 32 one-bedroom units proposed, 24 two-bedroom units proposed. And I want you to know that the application process that we're in for funding for this property, which is through the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency, these commitments I'm making to you as a zoning, as a plan that you see, I am making to them. And I can't take that commitment lightly. So they don't want me to come back later and say, oh, no, I need 50 units, or I need a different mix. Those decisions have been made. Our market study is complete. They've already analyzed that. We've set ourselves at 56 units, 32 and 24. We've also established ourselves at what our area median income is that we're going to serve, and that's 30% of area median income. We'll have 14 units at that targeting level, and then the rest will be distributed between 50% and 60% of area median income.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Rambar?
Having done one of the one-time tax credit, I know that the application is so specific, and so, I mean, you're locked in on it.
That's
So
correct.
what you just said couldn't be any closer to the truth. And I know that you're an engineer by education and trade, and this isn't your first rodeo. You've done this a number of times, and they've all been highly successful and well-planned, well bought out, well-maintained. So I'm all in favor of this. I'm kind of familiar with that property. I see Mr. Moser sitting out there, and so I'm looking forward to hearing what I'm sure he has something to say.
He's an engineer as well.
I know he is.
Yep,
So
yep.
anyway, thank you very much.
I appreciate it, and I'm glad you can say that about our products, because we have 26 properties throughout North Carolina. We have 2 existing properties here in New Hanover County, Lockwood Village and Bennett Village. I was before this board for Lockwood Village back in 2012, I think, once, but we had to apply 2 or 3 times to get the funding. Had to go through an annexation through North Carolina General Assembly. That was fun. But we're here. Mom and I own them, Mom and I manage them, and we're here to take care of them. All right.
Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, now that the applicant has been recognized, I'm going to set the shot clock at 30 minutes. Public hearing, if you please come forward. The public hearing is now open. State your name for the record and where you live. Come on down. The price is right.
Good evening, council and mayor. It's good to see you all tonight. My name is Clayton Hamersky. I have the distinct honor of serving as chair of the Cape Fear Housing Coalition. We are a group that I'll explain a little bit more in a second. But I wanted to mention tonight that we've got about a dozen of our members here in support of this project. We believe it's really good. So I'm not gonna wing it. I'm gonna read what we've got prepared. So I'll just get to reading this for you. Dear Mayor Saffo and council members, on behalf of the Cape Fear Housing Coalition, we are writing to express our support for Sterling Reserve application for annexation and conditional use rezoning proposed by Norco Management Holding at 5029 Carolina Beach Road. Our organization represents over 90 partners, including healthcare providers, developers, nonprofit agencies, local businesses, lenders, Brunswick, Pender, and New Hanover County governments, and several municipalities, including the city of Wilmington and the town of Leland. Sterling Reserve would provide a safe, affordable housing option for our aging neighbors who are too often priced out of the city, where for decades they have lived, worked, raised children, and built a life. Norco Management's proposal to provide 56 affordable senior housing apartments directly addresses a critical gap in our housing stock in a location that is close to amenities and services easily accessible by public transit, by bike, or on foot. Importantly, these units will be targeted to seniors earning less than 60% of area median income, which is approximately $40,000 a year, with 14 of the 56 units reserved for seniors earning less than 30% of our AMI, which is approximately $20,000. In today's housing market, we appreciate Norco Management's willingness to take on the complicated task of developing new housing well below market rate. We applaud them for their ongoing commitment to providing safe, well-maintained, affordable housing demonstrated in their other properties throughout our Cape Fear community. The involvement of the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency guarantees that this project will serve only seniors and will remain affordable for many years to come. Tax credit projects like these are an essential tool for addressing the overwhelming shortage of affordable housing in Wilmington. And they harness the expertise, capital, and economies of scale that for-profit, I think that's the buzzer, but I'm just going to finish up real quick. For-profit developers can leverage to bring in new units online. A deeply affordable project such as Sterling Reserve would make a real and lasting difference in the lives of some of our most vulnerable community members. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next.
Yeah. Could I ask the gentleman to come up and talk about that fence?
Yeah, he's going to come up in a second.
Yeah.
Sir, if you'll bring down that
Mike
mic,
Moser.
bring that microphone down a little bit so
Yes,
we can
sir.
hear you real good. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, yeah. I'm Mike Moser. I own the property. And the question about the fence, it is treated fence all the way. It's been there for 5 years approximately, and is in good condition. And the property on the other side is about 7 feet, and then Willoughby Park line. So that's approximately correct, all the way down to where the pond is in the back. Yes, sir. Anything else?
Anything you want to say?
I think this is going to be a really fine project, and I kind of hate to leave the property, but we're going to be searching for another piece of property in Wilmington. And my father-in-law owned this property all the way back, and we developed the very back of it. There's projects behind it. So we were staying there in the front part and was intending to keep it for life. But anyway, we decided that we wanted to get closer to my daughter where she lives. And so we have a wonderful person that came to us and said that she could help us with it. And I think this is going to be a wonderful project. And there's a lot of people in Wilmington that really need a place to live like this. And I think the good Lord just put this together so that they would have a place. And thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate all you people.
Thank you.
For what you do.
Thank you. Anybody else? Madam Clerk, have you had any additional commentary?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I received one comment from Sharon, I think it's Myson, 1605 Willoughby Park Court. I really do not understand annexation into city of property at 5029 Carolina Beach Road when the real issue is conditional district zoning. Assignment of 4-story building that is unable to be turned due to issues per Stephanie Norco. The properties listed are on their website, are single, 2- and 3-story buildings. Lockwood and Bennett she mentioned in Wilmington, but Bennett does not appear on the list, possibly due to a death in December of 21, gang-related. Because it is not cost-effective to build a 3-story building, maybe it may be a wise decision for Norco to build elsewhere. There's lots of land to be developed on Independence Boulevard. As a longtime resident, 30 years in Pine Valley, I find your decision very difficult to swallow. I would appreciate your support in Willoughby Park favor. Thank you, and she indicated she did send council some photos. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If you'd like to come forward, the public hearing is still open. Yes, sir, come on.
My name is Donald Hildebrandt. I live in Willoughby Park. I've been there since 2017. I want to jump around a bit here. I'm all in favor of it. I'm a senior. I just retired in August of last year and moved to Wilmington full-time. It comes down to being too big of a building on too small of a piece of parcel. It's just the wrong building. It needs to be a different design. During the planning committee, they had talked about putting a height restriction on it. But due to the financing and the timeline, they were told that it really needed to fly like it was. They asked about putting a flat roof on it, which would lower it and reduce our sight view from our property. But again, because of the financing and the timelines required for that, the Planning Council passed it along. My personal concern is seniors in a 4-story building with one elevator. Elevators break. What do the people on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th story do? They can't climb stairs. They could be in wheelchairs, they could be in walkers. There needs to be some modification to the plan to ensure that these seniors on the upper floors can get up and down. In case of a fire, there's got to be something done there. In an earlier meeting, the builder has said she had never built a 4-story building before. I'm sure that can be engineered out, but it should be noted that they've never built a 4-story building. Talking about 4-story buildings, on Carolina Beach Road, there's only one other 4-story building, the Extended Stay Hotel, and it is surrounded completely with businesses and warehousing. There is no residential backed up to that 4-story building. My concern is that this is being rushed along so they can get the financing. And no one has time to do it twice. Let's do it right the first time. Let's get it to 3 stories or whatever it needs to be so that it doesn't have a negative impact on the rest of the existing neighborhood. And we are all paying taxes to help support this.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor and Council, my name is Vito Guardia. I live in Willoughby Park. I've been there 12 years. It's a great community. And this building that's going up for the seniors, I think it's, not to be repetitious, the 4 stories, I think it's kind of an eyesore. But more importantly, for the seniors, and I believe that this corporation is interested in seniors and their safety and affordability. And I'm all for that. And my reason for stepping up here essentially is for the safety factor. If senior citizens are going to be safe, they have to have a place to shop. They can't just sit in their apartment all day. They're going to go out. They want to see the world. Either they're going to drive, and if they're driving, they all have cars. I don't see how they're all going to be parking there. But more importantly, if they decide to step out, and I understand they're going to be bicycling, walking, shopping at Walmart. Now, I spent some time today to walk the walk so I could talk the talk. And I stepped out from the sidewalk from this community that's going in, and I took a walk to Walmart, okay? Now, I'm pretty fortunate. I'm a senior citizen myself. I'm pretty fortunate. I can walk pretty good, so I probably walk a little faster than most at my age. It took me about just under 9 minutes to get from the sidewalk from the development that's going in to the Walmart sidewalk. Now, the Walmart, to do that, I had to traverse along this path, and I understand there's going to be a pathway going through, all right? I had to get through first Willoughby Park's driveway, okay? At that point, there was a school bus right there. I had to stop, wait for the bus, and all that to get through. Crossed Willoughby Park driveway. There's a entrance to get in and exit to get out. So basically, there's 2 driveways there you're walking past, okay? Which I did. Once I get past that driveway, there is the bus stop, the proverbial bus stop. Okay, now if I'm a senior citizen, or my mom, rest in peace, or someone's mom, is going to go out from this development and take a walk to Walmart, or perhaps want to take a bus ride downtown, that bus stop has absolutely no shelter. If it's raining, if it's 100 degrees out, if it's 20 degrees out, there's absolutely nothing. You could either freeze, die of the heat, okay, or get soaking wet. Now, you tell me whose mother or dad are you going to send out there and say, yeah, take the bus. There's a bus stop right there. Okay? There's not one sign that says pedestrian walking, a light, traffic light, anything like that where a pedestrian has the right of way. Okay? Now, I took a video. Unfortunately, I don't know how to forward it here so you could see it. But once I got past the Willoughby parking lot, now I traverse a little further past the bus stop, okay? The path gets wide, gets narrow, and there's a drainage ditch there. So I had to walk alongside Carolina Beach Road. There's trucks, commercial traffic coming by at 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, blowing by. The next stop you have is, again, a commercial driveway. It's the Monkey Mart, okay? They do a fair amount of traffic. So now you got to get through that driveway, okay? I'm talking about a senior citizen, 55 and older, okay? Some of us could move a little faster than others. And I actually met a lady coming back with groceries. Now, I'd like to know how many senior citizens are going to carry groceries from Walmart all the way back, okay, and go through this. Now, I get past Monkey Mart. The next one is a storage unit. That's another driveway. These are wide commercial driveways. These trucks coming in and so on. But the thing that got me the most is when I finally reached the Walmart driveway. The only way to get into Walmart, if you're walking, is to go into that driveway and through the back, okay, which is a commercial driveway to have tractor trailers there, plus the cars themselves, people coming into Walmart. There was a caravan of cars, and this is not even the peak of day, coming in. Now, you tell me what senior citizen is going to be walking through all these driveways in actually a parking lot for quite a distance to get to the Walmart Walmart sidewalk. So from sidewalk to sidewalk, it took me roughly about, like I said, about 9 minutes, okay? But in that 9 minutes, the driveways I had to go through, in my opinion, I'm fine with it. I mean, I could cross Carolina Beach Road if I have to. But I think the average citizen that we're so concerned about, this Norco, they're so concerned about safety and all of this, that is not a safe walk. I wouldn't want my mom, rest in peace, having to walk that route. Now, if you're driving, guess what? How are you going to get to Walmart by driving? You got to get out, you got to make you got to go down, make a U-turn, come around, make another U-turn to get in there. Those are major intersections. There's not one traffic light there. There's not one pedestrian crossroad, anything for safety, walk, stop, traffic lights, nothing. You are at risk. You're at your own risk. Now, I went to the next level. I said, okay, fine. If you put a pathway...
Sir, could you wrap it up, because everybody's given at least 2 minutes and you've already gone over the... That's okay. Just a question. Do you drive to Walmart from Willoughby Park? Do you drive there or do you walk?
I drive, sir.
Okay, but you're okay to drive there?
Well, yeah, I'm okay to drive anywhere.
Okay.
I'm okay to walk anywhere if I have to.
Okay.
Because I can do that. But the average person that we're referring to get there, it's a major hazard. And there's not one lit light. It's total darkness, pitch black. I can't tell you how many times I've pulled into Willoughby Park, 9:30 at night. It's total darkness, people walking from that area towards the Walmart. And, I mean, you have to be totally aware. You could literally run someone over there. Okay, so they have to put up some lights and have a safe path to Walmart or wherever else they're going to go, because you cannot go anywhere else. If that's the only place they're going to shop, then they better have good safety hazard warnings.
So
there was a major accident there not too long ago.
You consider yourself above average?
Above average as
Yes.
far as health is concerned? I think I'm pretty fortunate.
The way this site plan's got, I forget how many parking spaces on there, and they're not building those parking spaces for looks. People are going to have vehicles there. People that are 55, I'm 75 years old, and I can probably run faster than you can. So there's a lot of people in there, just because they're a senior, and maybe there's some people with some special needs, they're not helpless.
I agree. They're not helpless, but they're at risk.
Well, you're at risk.
Well, I'm at risk if I walk, yeah. They're saying they're making this Walmart, it's a convenient shopping center for people to go to. The majority of these folks are going to be driving. Is that what you're saying, Mr.
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying...
Well, neither am I. I'm just telling you that it's unsafe.
Okay.
Traverse from that development to the Walmart, which I've been hearing all night long. That is not a safe place, sir.
You've been managing?
Pardon?
You've been managing all these 12 years?
No, I drive to Walmart. I deliberately did the walk today so that I could come here and see what you would have to go through to get there.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Thank you
And
very
at
much.
nighttime, you better have your insurance paid up. That's all I can say. It's not safe. Simple as that.
Well, these people aren't idiots that are going there, and I'm sure they'll make
I don't know
arrangements.
who they are. I don't even know who these people are, and neither do you, sir. And I'm saying they're idiots or not. I'm not referring to them as idiots. That's your word, not mine.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is if these are senior citizens 55 and up, what is the range? How many people are above 55 or above 75 or 80?
Okay.
Do you
Thank
know? I don't.
Thank you, sir.
You know what I mean? All right, sir. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Can I just raise a point about the timing of the Carolina Beach Road Trail? Because it's not like we're going to be open tomorrow, and people will be walking down the shoulder of the road tomorrow. And city staff may need to help me. The Carolina Beach Road Trail, I think, is maybe imminent in the next 2 years to start construction, or less than that. If somebody knows, I think I'm getting a nod of yes. It'll be under construction in about 2 years. That's about the time we'll be under construction. Our application process, we're still in it. We're kind of in the middle of it. It'll end in August. We'll know if we're awarded the funds or not in August, or say early September. By the time we get permits or environmental reviews and permits in place, I'm hopeful that we'll be closing on construction loans and equity to start construction in March of next year, and then it's about an 18-month construction period. So we'll be kind of timing right along with that Carolina Beach Road Trail. And something I do want to offer to you, it has been brought up that a flat roof might be more attractive, or at least would bring the building height down a bit. After the Planning Commission, the very next day, I reached out to my architect, and I'm like, show me what a flat roof would look like. Tell me how much it would cost, how much added cost it would be, and we did explore that. I did get his design this afternoon, and I would like to show you that design if we can, because I am very open to utilizing a flat roof. It is about $200,000 more cost, but we have ways that we can figure that dollar out and make it happen. But we are willing to do it because we think the project is more important than $200,000 if that's what it's going to take.
Stephanie, just with the, and I know this would, the authority would have to make that decision in respect to the bus stop that the gentleman alluded to. I would imagine it's closer to the Walmart site, and I'm just wondering how far is the bus stop physically from this particular site, number one. And then I guess number two would be, I guess maybe having a discussion with the authority about the possibility if they could move that stop with some cover or ask for a cover, because they ultimately make that decision. I know sometimes those decisions are based on what the property owner will allow or not allow. Sometimes it's on state property, sometimes it's on private property. So that has to be a decision by the transit authority, not the city or yourself. And that's, I guess, a question that I would ask of you to ask them about the possibility of adjusting that bus stop further
I'm
further
very
to this
happy
site.
to do that, happy to do that. Can somebody help give me perspective on where the bus stop is with respect to the Willoughby Park intersection? I'm trying to get the little asterisk to come down.
I think
I'm assuming it's on the
we have our
opposite
staff
side.
people.
Staff actually measured the distance prior. It's about 450 feet to the south.
Great. So probably though still on the opposite side of the
Correct.
Willoughby Park. So you.
And, oh, I'm sorry. And we also reached out to Wave Transit regarding relocation of the bus stop, and they responded that they were in favor of maintaining the current location of the bus stop.
Is there some collaboration maybe with NCDOT and Wave? Because when the trail comes through, it's going to.
I guess that's not, I guess that's a question that we could ask of the Wave Transit folks, if they're not going to move the stop, and that's ultimately their decision. You know, what's the issue in respect to a covering of some sort, as the gentleman alluded to, because there are a lot of stops that do not have total covers. I know their goals and objectives were to cover every stop in the community that they service, but I don't know why this particular stop doesn't have one. And I agree with the gentleman that somebody out here in the hot sun or when it's raining, it's unconscionable that somebody's standing there waiting for the bus to come. And I know we're trying to do a good thing here in support of senior citizens, and I know you're making this decision based on the location of the services that are close by, not just Walmart, but other
Oh, sure.
grocery stores and what have you
Doctors.
that are nearby also. I know those decisions
The-
are factored into that decision-making process.
Absolutely, I'm happy to ask the questions, and again, I'm sure there must be some collaboration with NCDOT and WAVE because of, just the disturbance of that shoulder is going to facilitate an adjustment in location.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll come back with a different type of bus stop there or cover, but I'm happy to further that conversation along, that's no problem at all. The other thing that WAVE offers now is kind of almost like an Uber service. So I know some of our current residents at Bennett Village, Lockwood Village, utilize that micro transit, I believe is what it's called. So I can certainly see that happening here as well. Again, I want to speak to the question that one of you all had about maybe some additional vegetation from the back of the building to the existing fence. I am happy to look at that. I want to make sure that whatever vegetation we put there is going to survive, though. So, but I'm happy to look at it. I'm happy to add more. I just don't want to overdo it and have other plants kind of kill some of them out, so it's not effective in some way.
Well, we appreciate that, and, anytime you have a development or of this nature, or any nature, that backs up to somebody's existing residence, I understand how they would feel that they would like to have some additional buffering, or where they don't want to be able to see the roof line, and, I applaud the fact that you're trying. I know that this is a very serious issue for our community, is affordability in housing, and you're trying to provide that in 3 different levels, and we appreciate that also. And we're just trying to balance the needs of the community with the people's property rights that exist there. And
That's exactly
I think
what
you've
it
tried to
is.
do everything you can, and I know it probably does not gonna, everybody's gonna like exactly what it is, but at the end of the day, it's accomplishing the mission of the council and the need for affordability that we desperately need in this community.
And we want to be good neighbors, so.
Well, and the other thing is in the gentleman's defense, I mean, he makes a very good point. Getting to and from a lot of these places has been challenging. And I know I know a lot of that is in the county's previewing their development standards in respect to trails and walkways and sidewalks is different from the cities. And although this is a voluntary annexation, our standards are sidewalks and trails to connect services with where people live, and it's the right thing to do with a growing community like ours, and we'll do our part as a city, and I know you will do your part by annexing it in under our development standards, but they have quite dramatically changed in the last 20 to 30 years with the influx of the citizens that have moved into this community with more walkability, which is what comes out in the comprehensive land use plan, which is what the citizens have asked for.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So,
Yes, but, yes. No, sir, you're gonna have to come up here. I can't have you yelling from the audience.
so this is our alternative for the roof line. It does bring the height from 52 feet down to about 44 and a half feet off the back side and the sides of the building. So we are trying to bring it down as much as we can, but still accommodate everything we need to accommodate on the individual floors. I hope that this is satisfactory. If you compare the height of a flat roof building to a 3-story building, like the one that exists in Woodridge Point at the back of some of the other townhome communities, those buildings are probably around 38 feet high. So this one is going to be about 45 feet high. So hopefully that's in a comfortable range with the neighbors as well.
Presently, on the property, my property, there is a sidewalk that goes all the way from the road, all the way back to the apartments in the very back. The school bus pulls up and lets the children out on the sidewalk, and they are able to walk right by what would be that front building there and walk right by all the way back to the project in the back. Now, it'd be very simple for a bus stop right there, and also when you go towards town, leave the property, there's a stoplight right there with Silver Lake Road. and there's a turn lane, turn and go all the way back down. And this is where we get to Willoughby, back to the stores. We go down in the turn lane, make a U-turn, and go all the way down Carolina Beach Road. And Walmart got a turn lane where it turns off, right off, and then turns into Walmart. And that is there now. But as far as the walkway down there, it is a grass path, basically, is what it is. But still, I just want to make a point about the sidewalk.
Understand.
And it's there, and so if and also the buses have stopped at that sidewalk and let older people out to walk down that sidewalk to go to the back project that we built back there.
Okay.
So I just want to make that point.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Waddell, do you have a question?
I just have a quick point of clarification for the applicant. The flat roof alternative, is that being proffered as a condition?
I'm happy to do that, yes, sir.
Okay, it looks beautiful.
I like the urban look of it, I mean,
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, sir.
Okay.
Happy to.
Thank you. All right.
Quick question, with the change of the flat roof, that's not gonna affect the rent or anything like that for the,
No, sir, it will not. The rents that are proposed, they are what they are right now.
okay, all right. And the flat roof is not as tall as the peak roof?
Correct, yes, sir. So the flat roof in and of itself, the side that's most important to Willoughby Park will be 45 feet. Before, the original design that's on the front of the PowerPoint to the peak was 52 feet.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. I'm going to close the public hearing and ask for the wishes of council in respect to the ordinance or to the public hearing item, which is PH 3A, 3B, and 3C. We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Spears, second by
Mr.
Councilmember
Mayor,
Barnett.
Mr. Mayor, I apologize. You're going to need to do those separately. It'll be PH 3A first, and if that passes, then move to B.
Yeah, I was going to do that. I was going to go ahead and we'll go vote on each one of these items separately, but the public hearing was for all three.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I just want to make sure of that.
It was specifically for 3A and 3B. 3C doesn't require a public hearing,
Sure.
but if when we get to that, you'd like to hear from staff, you can hear more about that.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to ask Councilmember Spears to read a consistency statement, I believe.
Quick question, Mr. Mayor, clarification. Will this add the condition for the flat roof?
So if you'll vote on 3A first, you don't need to read a consistency statement for 3A. And then when we get to 3B, that will require the consistency statement. And what I'll ask you to do is to vote on 3B, if there's a motion for that, that would amend condition 4 in section 2 to state that the use and development of the subject property shall be in substantial compliance with the site plan as submitted and accepted by City Council on May 2nd, 2023, which includes the flat roof alternative for the building. So with that modification to specify that the flat roof option is the one that you would like to move forward. And
I'll
so we
let
can
Councilman Spears remember all of that.
Yes, sir, and we can do that at 3B. We'll just need to do 3A first, but it doesn't require a consistency statement.
Okay. So we're going to go with the first one. The item, and we will be voting on, and Mr. Spears has made a motion on, and Mr. Barnett has seconded, is item PH 3A, which is the ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the city of Wilmington, North Carolina. All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes unanimously. We do have to have a motion to waive second reading on that.
Yes.
Mr. Barnett has made the motion, second by Councilmember Spears. Everybody in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The item passes unanimously on first as well as second reading. Now we'll go to item PH 3B, which is the ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city to initially zone property containing 1.8 87 acres of land located at 5029 Carolina Beach Road to MD17 CD, high-density, multi-dwelling residential district, conditional district for 56-unit multi-dwelling senior housing development. And I will ask that Mayor Pro Tem Haynes, who's made that motion, second by Councilmember Spears. Mayor Pro Tem, I believe you do have to read a consistency statement for the record.
Yes, and
Yes,
is your
and-
motion with the previous amendment to Section 2, Number 4, to add the phrase, which includes the flat roof alternative for the building?
Yes, that is what the motion includes, and I'm sure the clerk got that. So are we ready? Okay. I move to approve the proposed amendment to assign zoning to property located at 5029 Carolina Beach Road to MD 17 CD, high-density, multiple-dwelling residential district, conditional district for a 56-unit multiple-dwelling affordable senior housing development, and find it to be consistent with the relevant policies in the comprehensive plan based on the application materials and the information provided at the public hearing and in the staff report, and to find approval of the rezoning request is reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The proposed rezoning would establish an appropriate zoning designation that will allow for an affordable housing project that is close to commercial services.
Okay, all in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Item passes unanimously on first reading. Is there a motion to waive second reading? Motion made by Councilmember Ravenbach, second by Councilmember Spears. Discussion, all in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes unanimously on first as well as second reading. That brings us to our last item, which is item PH3C, which is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Terrier Development LLC for gap financing for affordable workforce housing utilizing $1 million of HUD home funds. What are the wishes of council in respect to that resolution? We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Haynes, second by Councilmember Barnett. Discussion. All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes unanimously. Congratulations. That brings us to our next item of business, which is our ordinances. Item 01 is an ordinance authorizing the transfer of $40,000 from the city council's contingency account for costs associated with installation of a guardrail along Greenville Loop Road. This time, I'd like to recognize Deputy City Manager Tom Moden. Tom?
Mr. Mayor and members of council, Denise Fraun, Assistant Director of Engineering, will present this information.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of council. The ordinance before you will appropriate $40,000 from council contingency to the Greenville Loop guardrail project for the installation of approximately 125 linear feet of guardrail. This guardrail installation will provide safety improvement along the edge of the road where there's a steep slope down to an existing culvert. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions of staff? What are the wishes of Ms. Rombauer?
I just wanted to thank you. I've had
You're welcome.
talked about that a long time, but I appreciate it.
We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Barnett, second by Councilmember Spears. Discussion, all in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes unanimously on first reading. Is there a motion to waive second reading? Motion made by Councilmember Waddell, second by Councilmember Ravenbach. Discussion, all in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item passes unanimously on first as well as second reading. That brings us to our next item of business, which is item 02A, which is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter a sub-grantee agreement with the North Carolina Housing Coalition Housing Counseling Network in the amount of $15,706 of grant funds for HUD's fiscal year 2022 Comprehensive Housing Counseling Grant Program Notice of Funding Availability. And item 02B, which is the ordinance making the supplemental appropriation in the amount of $15,706 to the Special Purpose Fund to support costs associated with the housing counseling program. I'd like to recognize our Deputy City Manager, Mr. Tom Moten. Mr. Moten?
Yes, Ms. Suzanne Rogers, Community Development and Housing Planner, will give you brief remarks and overview of these items.
Very brief remarks. As you recall, council approved the city becoming a certified housing counseling agency and a member of the North Carolina Housing Coalition Housing Counseling Network, and as such, we receive grant funds passed through from HUD to them, and so this is a resolution to enter that agreement and to appropriate those funds, and those funds will be used to offset the cost of one of the housing counselor positions. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Suzanne? All right. What are the wishes of council in respect to the resolution? We have a motion to approve by Councilmember Barnett, second by Councilmember Ravenbark. Discussion. All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item passes unanimously on first and only reading. Item O2B, which is the ordinance making the supplemental appropriations in the amount of $15,706. What are the wishes of council? We have a motion to approve by Mayor Pro Tem Haynes, second by Councilmember Barnett. Discussion. All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item passes unanimously on first reading. Is there a motion to waive second reading? Motion made by Councilmember Ravenbark, second by Councilmember Barnett. Discussion. All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item passes unanimously on first as well as second reading. This concludes the regular agenda. Are there any items to be brought forward by our City Attorney? Everhart?
No, sir, just the closed session we were asking for.
Okay. Deputy City Manager?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Madam Clerk? Mr. Waddell? Mr. Barnett?
Just happy Mother's Day early, because we won't be here before Mother's Day comes. And just take care of each other. That's my goal.
Mayor Pro Tem? Mr. Ravenbark? Thank you. Appreciate it. You too. Yeah.
I just would like to thank, on behalf of everybody up here, the magnificent job that our, the mayor, Councilman Luke Waddell, Deputy City Manager Chad McEwen, City Manager Tony Caudle, our Jennifer Moretti, did today at LGC in Raleigh, and Meredith Everhart. And who else?
And Mary.
And Mary Vigue. Damn, it's late. Just hit a home run, and it was tough. They were grilled, and they did a yeoman's job, and I want to thank them very much.
Thank you. Mr. Spears?
Yes, sir. Two things. On Sunday morning, the city lost an employee of over 20 years, Mr. Rufus Singletary, dedicated city employee, actually lifelong friend of mine, known him my entire life. Just want to send my condolences to his family and state how much he'll be missed by the city and also in our community. And also want to send a very early birthday shout to my baby girl. Happy birthday, Monty. Big 5 tomorrow. She was already planning out every other birthday from here on out, all the way up until getting her driver's license and buying her first car.
Okay. We're going to make a motion for closed session. Is there a motion to go into closed session, to enter into a closed session pursuant to the provisions of North Carolina General Statute, Section 143-31811, A and 5, and A and 6, in order for the City Council to, 1, instruct staff regarding the city's negotiation position concerning the possible acquisition of real property, and 2, to consider the qualifications, competence, fitness, performance, and conditions of employment of a public officer or employee for prospective public officer or employee. We have a motion to approve by Councilman Reinbark, second by Councilman Barnett. Discussion. All in favor of that motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We will now be going to closed session. The closed session will be held here in council chambers. Everyone is asked to leave the chambers at this time. At the end of the closed session, council will reopen its public session and adjourn at this time from this location. So we will wait for everybody to go.